selfish. The city feels so dark when no one's around. We're sitting in my car. The silence is so loud. I don't know where the hell we ended up, but all I know is that it feels like we're stuck. We're not going anywhere. I swear it feels like we haven't moved. We're not going anywhere. And I've run out of things we can do to keep the fire burning.
December, the world turns to Doha, Qatar for chess at its fastest and fiercest. The 2025 FIDE World Rapid and Blitz Championships bring the globe's elite to battle under lightning time controls. December 26th to December 30th, Rapid and Blitz formats designed to reward precision, courage, and creativity. In the heart of the Middle East, Doha offers more than a board, a world-class venue, a cultural backdrop, and a stage worthy of legends. With a €1 million prize fund on the line and the title of world champion at stake, the 2025 FIDE World Rapid and Blitz Championships, the ultimate test of fast chess.
Welcome to the FIDE Online Chess Museum. The International Chess Federation proudly presents the FIDE Chess Museum, an online space celebrating the rich history and evolution of chess. Explore exhibits that trace the game's fascinating journey. Discover the origins of chess, beginning in the distant past, and follow FIDE's centenary journey. Rare chess sets, unique books and memorabilia, autographs of chess legends, trophies of historical tournaments, and stories of the chess champions. Explore the game's legacy and future. Chess is more than a game. It's a global culture of strategy and unity. Join us to experience this unique online journey where history, culture, and passion for chess converge. And also on your phone.
The crucible of competition, the eyes of the world. Goa, India hosts the 2025 FIDE World Cup, where over 200 of the top chess players in the world face off in an 8-round knockout tournament.
This queen has nowhere to go, that is the end.
Excellence, perseverance, and stamina bring glory, national pride, and a spot at the illustrious Candidates Tournament. The globe's best chess players hope to add their name to the list of champions.
Ooh, he made a move in 1 second.
The 2025 FIDE World Cup. Let's get these games started.
Namaste, Chess fans, and welcome to the broadcast of the FIDE World Cup, coming to you from the beautiful coastal region of Goa in India. Here in Goa, surrounded by vibrant culture, warm hospitality, and stunning scenery, the stage is set for another thrilling day of world-class chess. Today, we might witness the crowning of the champion, but as not all, the two finalists already have secured their places in the upcoming FIDE Candidates Tournament, while the final qualification spot will be decided in the third place match. That means the pressure is immense and the stakes are the highest. Who will claim the last coveted ticket and make history? I'm Grandmaster Artur Nations, and I'm joined together by the legendary Grandmaster Judith Polgar to bring to you some instructive and hopefully also entertaining commentary. Judith, welcome back. Of course, it's really great to see you once again. Big day is ahead of us. So maybe if I would ask you the very first question, what's your gut instinct? What do you think? What today is going to bring us? Are we really going to see two Petrov games, as I jokingly wrote in the chat? Or we might see some fireworks?
Hi, Arthurs. It's nice to be back with you. And I mean, yesterday it was a tough day. We've seen some signs of tiredness of the players. I think that was pretty clear already. In Yesipenko in the previous match against Wei, blundering a rook yesterday, he had the energy and he won. And we could see Yakubayev suffering in that game, but I'm very much looking forward. Is he able to kick back and bounce back in this game and go for the playoff? And of course, I'm very excited also to see who is going to be the champion of the World Cup, because that is also very exciting.
Yeah, and there's this amazing new cup in the name of Vichy Anand. I saw it at the opening ceremony. It looks really nice. But before we delve into the format and the games themselves, let's have a look what our own Rakesh Kulkarni had to say what we can expect from today's games.
Welcome to game 2 of the finals of the FIDE World Cup here in Goa. This might be the last day that we are doing this broadcast. We'll see if it goes into tie breaks, but that is to watch out. VE versus Sindarov is a very important match to decide who becomes the champion of the FIDE World Cup, and we'll see if Wei can do something no other Chinese player has done, because remember, Ding Liren has lost twice in the finals of the FIDE World Cup. Wei, can he top that? We'll find out. That's going to determine the champion. But remember, these two players have already qualified to the candidates. In the other match, the third place match, is very important. We will see Norderberg Yakuboev versus Andrei Sipenko. Remember, both of these players got married recently in the last couple of months. Lady luck will shine on which player? We will watch out, because Andrei Sipenko has one game when his rook was captured by his knight when he blundered the rook. But yesterday, he managed to trap the knight and win the game. Let's see if Esipenko makes it through and becomes the first Russian player to qualify to the candidates. Otherwise, we will have no Russian player in the candidates again for the first time ever. We'll find out what's going to happen. Lastly, Wei is the only unbeaten player who's still alive. Will that change tonight? We'll watch out. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you, Rakesh, for that amazing insight. And here we see the pairings of today's matches. So, of course, there's the final match of Wei against Sindarov, and they're going to battle it out. Who is going to lift the trophy of Vichy Anand? Of course, the possibility that tiebreaks might be necessary tomorrow is still a possibility, but of course, we are going to see. Let's not jump ahead of ourselves. And the third place match of Yakuboyev against Yesipenko. Here we can see Judith. The players are getting ready themselves to the match. So obviously the big question to you, do you think Yakuboyev can do it? Can he fight back today and win on demand?
He has to. He has no choice, right? And it is a very different psychological situation when you make the first game as a draw, and then you still have this insecure feelings, where to go, what to play for. In this today's game for Yakubev, there is no questions. The only question is how you're making your opening moves and how you direct the game into a little bit more interesting, difficult position. And it's not about getting a better position. It's about getting a position where he can ask a lot of questions from Yesipenko, make him think, make him making decisions again and again and again and again, and somehow increase the pressure that much that maybe Yesipenko will fail, and nerves will be big part of the game, and then he's making mistake, because obviously Yesipenko showed it, and we all know that how stable he is. So he's very resilient player, as we can see. He played so many games in this event. This is his 30th game, so it must be quite chaotic in his head how many classical game and different time control playoffs he was playing, right? So it is very important, I think, for Yakubev for somehow to imbalance Yesipenko, and this is the most difficult. How to have a game that it's going to be interesting. I can ask questions. There are different ways to complicate matters, but he's here to win. There is no other result which can fit his dreams, and he knows it, that this is his last chance to become the candidate participant. or potentially be going into the playoffs. So I think from some aspect it's easier for him to play this game because it's double or nothing. What's your feeling about it?
Yeah, maybe you're right, Judith. I'm not really sure. First, I would like to see the opening because something tells me we might see some Petrov because the Petrov has been in the air of the final stages of the World Cup in the deciding days. So, is this something that Jespek is going to play? We are going to have to figure out ourselves in a minute. Here we can see the two finalists. They have already made it to the candidates tournament. The ceremonial move is about to be made. E4, that's not really a bad move. What do you think, Judith?
E4 is not a bad move. You're asking the right person who played all her life. E4, though this E4 these days, it's a different E4 than when I retired from competitive chess because theory developed it further itself. But it's very interesting this match also because of course the players there are a lot of pressure went off of their shoulder because they qualified already. At the same time, of course, they're competitors, sport personalities, characters who whenever there is a chance they want to win, and they know that's behind them, that they qualified already for the candidates. So the next step is to win the event, right? But how do I do that? The first game, Wei had he had the upper hand, we can say, because out of the opening, both of them were very well prepared yesterday. At the same time, Sindarov seemed to me that he got nervous first, and he made an inaccuracy. After that, Wei was not sure about himself, whether which direction to go. He chose the safest way, but that led only to a draw. So I'm very curious what will be. 4 knights will be on the board, it seems.
Ooh, I don't know if this is good news or not because the Ford Declaration has a reputation at the highest level. It tends sometimes to fizzle out to some very peaceful-ish, equal-ish positions. Bishop b5, Judith, this is something we already have seen in this tournament. Maybe a bit too early to tell. Could this be the first sign that this game might be heading to the tiebreaks?
Well, to be honest, I don't know how the players think because, of course, at this point, I think it's the 23rd day that they are competing, and we should not forget that the pressure is increasing from round to round, from game to game, in different ways, but it definitely does. They know it already that it's already getting to the end of the tournament, right? But still, I mean, you want to win the event. So I don't know. I think Sindarov is happy to go into the playoff. At the same time, he's also showed quite great skills in the playoff. He has iron nerves. That's very clear. At the same time, maybe when the players are playing already a playoff with shorter time control, the tension is easier to handle. Now it seems that, well, this is the game where Sindarov against Yakoboyev was playing with the white pieces, right? And that was not a very complicated draw. So I would not be surprised if this game would not last too long today. But we'll see if there is anything Wei has in mind and wants to ask some questions from Sindarov in this game. But it's quite funny to see him play from both sides.
I'm so excited also to see the other game, Yakoboyev against Yesepenko, because this move d3 Judith is something I've been analyzing myself quite extensively lately, and I feel like I can tell all about it. By the way, the players are playing it out very quickly. The Catalan opening or the Neo-Catalan, Knight e5, I love this move because, it's actually quite a coincidence. Right now, I'm writing a new course for Chessable, and against the most solid setup for black is going to feature exactly this setup of Knight e5. And it's getting quite trendy. It's unexplored positions, probably at the highest level. Obviously, the players are quite familiar with this. But the big idea is you want to avoid the classical Catalan positions and aim for something unorthodox. So maybe if we could go full screen to this position where Yesepenko just responded with a6, I could highlight you, the viewers, what is here Yakoboyev's idea to play with white. So if white to move, the main idea typically for white is to play f4 right now. So this is why you play knight e5. You want to secure the knight on e5 to play f4. Some very interesting vibes, Judith, from the Leningrad Dutch. And also then think about the e4 push. What do you think about this line?
To tell you the truth, it's probably kind of I see it for the first time. I was not playing with any of this side, this position at all, and it's interesting what you're saying, that it's so clear that White is preparing to play f4, stabilize the knight on e5, and also possibly e4. I think it can be something very interesting. I think it's a nice choice for White to play for a long game, because that's the main idea for Yakuboyev, to play a game, right? To get a game where Black has to make a lot of decisions, also a lot of pieces. All the pieces are on the board, and probably we can expect that. So I'm curious how Black can simplify the position as much as possible. Is it knight bd7, which should be the move, for example?
Yeah.
Or is it?
So maybe I'm gonna step back a bit. So there's so many things I can talk about this position, because like I know them really well. And if we go back to the position where White played this move d3, perhaps it's quite important to understand why White is playing d3. And it has to do something with the reputation of the Catalan opening. And Catalan opening has been one of the most researched openings from either color. It has a very extensive history. And basically, if you play d4, the main move, again, the reputation, it keeps changing, but I think currently the word is that any d takes on c4 setups for Black, they just give you a lot of opportunities. So Black has multiple setups to play after d takes on c4, and the word is that it works really well. Yeah, like you mentioned, Judith, the knight e5 idea. There's the queen c2 line with a6, a4. Queen c4 is now, I think, a bit not that popular, but of course, like, it's still one of the mainstream theories, and Black tries to play c5 push at some point to get rid of the weakness. So that's like a very, very big discussion in this position, and I'm sure, Judith, you know about it way more than me in this position. But the thing about d3, now d3 is something really trendy, and it has emerged at the highest level in the past years. So Black has obviously many moves, so c5 is one of them. And after knight e5, Judith, you mentioned the idea of knight bd7, so we could go straight toward the current position here. Let's say White is going to play f4. I think f4 has to be done. And after knight bd7, you want to take on d7. Oh, sorry, I think I slightly mix up the move order. Oh, now you wait, play f4, knight bd7, and you take knight takes on d7. So that's the big idea.
So it was a6 in the game, right?
Yeah, it was a6. So I proposed to play f4. And after knight bd7, you take on d7, bishop takes on d7, e4, and then Black has to make a choice whether to take on e4 or not. So let's say he decides to take it, d takes, bishop c6, and I think, unless I'm terribly mixing up the lines, yeah, knight c3 or queen e2. Queen e2 was somehow supposed to work, but this queen e8, the queen still being on e8, I see I'm missing something. Yeah, the knight takes on e4. I think the main idea for Black was not to play knight bd7 immediately. Yeah, here you very nicely pointed out queen d4, White is in trouble, but Black would play queen c7 first. And I think that in the live position, Yesipenko is trying to figure out, does the queen belong on c7? Or does he play knight bd7 immediately? So knight bd7 was definitely one of the moves, but ultimately White's idea is to play this f4, e4, and then hope for a kingside attack. I'm pretty sure we're going to get more news and more moves in the upcoming minutes.
Well, it's very interesting what you're saying. At the same time, I can see that, of course, for White, he very much has to be looking the options, what he's doing, how is he playing further, that he has to win the game, right? So little better position or little more convenient position, pressing the opponent is not necessarily going to be enough. So I'm worried for White if he has to exchange this knight from e5, because to open up the position with e4, the line we just looked at, I'm worried for white that if many pieces will be simplifying, then black is just holding on, and it's not too much questions asked from black. Is it possible to play with knight bd2 and strengthen the knight placement on f3, or not really?
Yeah, I seem to recall that queen c7 was the main move, and a6 was one of the sidelines. I mean, okay, like the entire line is like a very big sideline, and I do not immediately recall, like, was it immediately e4 or f4? But maybe you're right, Judith. Maybe there's a room for this knight e2 and knight f3. And I agree what you say is that I think that white would love to keep the queens on the board. So this f4, e4 with queens disappearing, it probably gives black too much of a simple game. So maybe he's right now trying to figure out.
Can I ask you a question? As you say that you've been working on this position and this opening a lot. I have a very simple question. Esipenko needs to make a draw, right? And in this position, he was playing c5. Isn't the c4 a sensible move? Just to try to explain it to our viewers. Why not just to exchange the queens and then say I go knight c6 and I'm doing okay? Am I doing okay?
d-X on c4, as far as I remember, was a pretty serious inaccuracy, as we can see by the evaluation bar, because white plays knight c3. And black is going to experience some problems with the pawn on c7. So knight b5 is an issue. Let's say you play a6, and I'm a bit worried about bishop f4. Knight e5 is incoming. The pawn on c7 is under attack. And this is also one of the things that sometimes the club level players or the players who are just starting out, they quite do not understand. It seems like we have a symmetrical pawn structure on the board. The queens are off the board. I should be doing okay. Like, I'm playing against a very good player. I should be very close to a draw. But actually, things are really further from the truth, because black is experiencing big problems because of the light square bishop on c8. And the entire Catalan very often has this idea to play against the, I call it, Judith, the bad Catalan bishop on c8. And you can basically base your entire game strategy against it.
Yes, I fully agree. I thought it was important to highlight why someone is not just exchanging pieces, right? This is why chess is so difficult, and the psychology of such a situation, that you just cannot simplify the position and just play on like that. So c5 is the very healthy continuation on the board. Knight e5, a6. Though on a6, to tell you the truth, I'm a little bit surprised. Why is it so important? Is it important that black is not aware of it yet, where he wants to bring his knight, and it's waiting white whether he's going to be bringing the knight to d2, or is he going to commit himself already by playing a f4? Is it a waiting move to play a6?
I think that the big idea, Judith, is for black to play b5. But I think that this b5 was typically played with queen c7 and f4. That's why, like, I'm looking at this and I'm a bit confused. Like, was it e4 or f4 here? Like, I cannot recall. To my great shame, I have to say, I was mainly focusing on queen c7 and a6. Also, judging by the speed of Yesipenko, it feels like it's a surprise. So yeah, b5, bishop b7, and maybe continue with either knight c6 or knight e7 at some point. These are the big ideas, and Yakoboyev is just making a pretty big decision right now. And while he's thinking, the viewers, we are going to make a very, very quick break after this very interesting start of the game 2 in the finals. But I would also like to remind you that the Black Friday has officially arrived. So this is your chance to get 50% off the premium on chess.com. All the premium memberships are off for a half a price discount for a limited time only. And that's the half a price for 100% unlimited game review, puzzles, lessons, insights, and more. So if you are ready to hunker down this season and level up your chess, so use !Black Friday in the chat or visit chess.com membership and check out the benefits right now. So don't go anywhere, dear viewers. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. See you in a bit.
I started to be successful and winning games and matches in the apartment. So building up from there my self-confidence and beating adults outside of the apartment. It was a very nice way of strengthening my journey. And I started to become very good at a very young age. Age 9, I was winning the unrated section of the New York Open, which was a big thing, a huge thing, because I scored only one draw at the very end when I secured my first place. And after that also, it was very clear that I was improving not only in strength, but also in rating in the next couple of years from age 9 to 12. That people were not really able to follow where am I standing really. So even experts, they just knew that I'm just racketing and playing very well, and nobody understood how far I will go.
We have 4 different puzzles, white to play and win.
I think quite clearly the idea would be to get some knight h6, knight h7 mate. We need to get the rook out of the way, so I would assume we go for rook takes g6 first move. I mean hg, queen h7, king h7, knight g5, knight h6, knight h7 is direct mate. fg, queen h7, I guess only king f8 is possible, but then, I don't know. I guess queen h8, queen g8, queen h6, king f7, knight g5 also works. So.
Yeah, amazing. Wow. Can you just show us the moves?
Yes, so I will take on g6. Let's say fg. So okay, this is quite... there should be even many ways to mate, but I guess this is the main motive.
Very nice. Wow.
Well done.
Impressive. White to play and win.
Quite obviously we have back rank issues. The first thing that came to my mind was some queen g3, king a8, queen e3, but I see there's a queen g6 option, which could be problematic, but maybe then I have rook d2. So I think that could be a try. King c8 is the only issue. If I go bishop a7, queen c2, queen b8, king d7, queen b7, queen c7, rook, really quite long lines. I mean, rook d1, I think about king e6, and then I don't really see a clear follow-up. Maybe if I go, but I feel like it's too far. Usually if I have to go that far, solutions are wrong. Yeah, this one is quite difficult. Yeah, I was thinking whether we can use the diagonals, some bishop d6 followed by queen h3, but I see there's f5. I mean, I'm talking about queen g3, king c8, bishop d6, queen c2, queen h3, f5, so I cannot really see any follow-up there. Ah, okay. So we go queen g4 check, queen g4, bishop a7, and then king d7, rook d2, and rook c1, I guess.
Very good.
Yeah, this is the typical mistake of not considering unusual moves, yes.
Starting battle.
Welcome back to AniChess. AniChess is modernizing chess by infusing the timeless game with an innovative spell mechanic. Players can compete against each other, participate in tournaments, and craft their own spells to battle and climb the ranks. All classical chess rules apply, but can be overridden by spell mechanics.
Invisible march. Strategic.
The knight on h6 used shot in the dark, moving it invisibly for one turn. And meanwhile, white used house recruit to spawn a pawn.
Clear the ground with a single bound.
White uses bishop 2.0, launching the bishop over a pawn to capture.
Invisible march. Strategic arch.
Shot in the dark allows black to win by kingslay. Push your chess limits. Try spell chess in the AnyChess Open Alpha.
Welcome back, dear viewers. We are still continuing the coverage for the 2025 FIDE World Cup, the second game of the final match on the battle for the third place, and also essentially the final spot in the FIDE Candidates tournament is just starting up. As you can see, we have two completely different games. So, by the way, on the left, do not be excited about the evaluation bar of the game of Wei against Sindarov. This is a tactical glitch. I mean, clearly Sindarov is not winning the game, and the FIDE World Cup, I mean, it's gonna fizzle out to a draw. Apparently there's a error of the move transmission. Every single piece is going to disappear in this game, so these players had it enough. So they just want to play some proper tiebreak. So there's some good news or there's some bad news. The bad news is, Judith, this game is about to finish because there's not really much to see. The good news, however, is that this is not the final day of the broadcast because tomorrow there will be tiebreaks.
Absolutely. But this, I think, is not something surprises us. We had this in our mind. We were talking about it, that what and how, in what mindset where you came today for the game, playing with the white pieces. And I think after yesterday's game where he did not play this essential move, the opportunity he received playing rook f4, entering in a very promising endgame imbalance with two rook, two pawns versus a rook and one knight and the bishop for Sindarov. And after that, he missed it. He misjudged it, or he made a bad decision yesterday. I think it's a very sensible way of continuing the mini match in classical game. Not to press too much because you never know. We've seen yesterday that Sindarov also made some inaccurate decisions. But you know what? It's towards the end. We are there for 2.5 weeks in Goa. They have been through in a big roller coaster on different ways, different time controls. So I'm not surprised at all that they say, okay, let's call it a day off in classical manners, because they don't have that kind of energy already, I also think, to play a 5-6 hour game and understanding all these nuances, because you're not going to win the game out of the opening. You're not going to win the game without energy. So I'm completely understanding the players, well, in this case, Wei, who was directing and steering the match into 1-1, and then the excitement is pushed further on. So for all the audience and chess fans, that we can be witnessing a playoff for having the winner of the World Cup. And I'm sure we will see some exciting moments tomorrow in the playoff. This game, we cannot say that it's the exciting game of any of the players from this event.
Yeah, absolutely. So both of them are perfectly happy with the result, and I think that it's going to wrap up very quickly. It's like a common effort. They find the closest repetition of the moves: bishop c4, bishop f4. We can see they're required to reach the move 30 when they can offer a draw, and finally they shake hands. They came, they saw, they drew. So both finalists here have made their second game in a draw, and thus they're making it officially to the tiebreaks. Congratulations to both of them, but we have still, of course, one more game going on.
But you know, there is one small thing in today's game with Wei, because the question is, how much energy and time did Wei spend on today's game on the preparation? And how much time Sindarov spent for his preparation, you know? Because I never forget the strategy of Magnus Carlsen, and he even repeated this strategy. But the first time I've seen this when he played the World Championship match, I don't know how much you remember, and our audience, in 2016, New York, I was doing my first World Championship commentary then. And we see this incredible match where Karyakin was giving such a hard time for Magnus in that match. And it was, I think, what was it? It was only 12-game match at the time. And before the last game, there was a free day. And in the last game, Magnus Carlsen played with the white pieces. So it was obvious that it's his choice whether what he's choosing. It was very clear that Karyakin is playing the extremely solid openings in Petrov, even in Rai Lopez, doesn't matter. And, everybody was so excited that last game, Magnus is playing with white. Is he going to be win and collect keeping his title and everything? And then you see this, I don't know, it was, I think, less than an hour game because Magnus just went exchanging everything and went for a draw. And then I thought that in one hand, it was such a disappointment. On the other hand, it was such a genius approach because he had all the self-confidence going into the playoffs, right, with Karyakin, because everybody expected him to be clearly the favorite in Rapid in the playoffs. So Magnus on the free day, he switched his mindset already that I'm playing the playoff. So he was doing sports, doing other things. Also on the last day, on the day of the game, he just probably didn't spend any time, just said, okay, I just go for a draw and fine. While Karyakin was spending the whole free day, I'm pretty sure, being nervous, preparing, oh my God, what Magnus is going to be playing. So you're like, I'm not saying panicking, but you're under serious stress, right? So spending a lot of energy, and then Magnus comes there and makes a draw in an hour. So this is my question. How much Veyi spend any energy yesterday after his game? Or how much energy did he spend today? And I have the feeling that he made the decision for himself, that I go there, I make a draw, I go relax, I don't even spend too much time on preparation. Was for Sindarov, it was more of a question, right? That what will be, because you don't know whether your opponent with the white pieces, is he really want to press you, or he wants to be solid and go for the playoff? So maybe there is a little tricky things in preparation and saving some energy and moving on for the next day for the playoff.
Yeah, that actually makes perfect sense, unless, of course, Sindarov was going Dubov's route and he was checking the game only 10 minutes on his phone. I highly don't think so. I think that he is a bit more serious guy who prepared for the games necessarily as deep as he can. But yeah, I could see the logic, definitely, what you're saying, Judith, that here Veyi just got himself an extra day to rest. And indeed, perhaps Sindarov was the one who, like you said, had to check all the files, having the uncertainty. So either way, both players are happy with the tiebreaks and they're coming back tomorrow. So maybe let's go back to our third place match, because that's the one, of course, which I feel it has a bit more higher stakes, because I mean, of course, the finalists, they're fighting out for all the glory, for the higher prize money, but they already have made it to the candidates tournament. So for them, it's easier to play. And this one spot, the remaining spot for the FIDE candidates tournament, it just adds, I would say, immense amount of pressure for Yakuboyev and for Yesipenko. I mean, both of them are young, so could be a huge milestone in their careers. Right. So let's maybe go back to the current position, and the move we did not see was Queen B3. And after Queen B3, Black has finally paused. And I think it's fair to say, Judith, that both players are a bit out of the book already, because A6 clearly surprised Yakuboyev, and Queen B3 is not your typical maneuver in this position. At least I don't recognize it. But it's fair to say that both players are on their own, and they have to figure it out. By the way, just as I was saying, Yesipenko played bishop d6. Judith, what do you make of this?
I think if we go back to a6 for a second, because before break we were discussing about this a6, and the reason you were not able to recall it, right? Because it's a new move, and it's a very interesting new move. It's kind of a waiting move, and after a6, it was a question for white, which direction to go, how to strengthen this 95, what is the follow-up move. So after this, it's kind of made sense for me to go queen b3, putting pressure on b7, and also a little bit against the d5. At the same time, it also looks kind of strange to have the queen on b3, right? Because I like your idea very much generally to go f4 and strengthen the knight, the stability for the knight on e5, and possibly to bring the knight d3, knight f3. Of course, I'm kind of dreaming for white now, because e5 square is kind of extremely important in these kind of setups, right? In the classical Catalan, when the pawn is on d4, it's very clear that the e5 is an essential square. But here also, but it's not so stable for the knight. And as we see after queen b3, black played bishop d6 without thinking that much, I believe. Though I'm not sure if he was thinking so much. But it is clear, one thing is clear, this e5 knight bothers black. And this is the key element of the game right now, that this is the fight is going over, whether can white keep his knight on e5 and give a hard time for black in development, or he cannot keep it. I don't see any other move, by the way, than to play f4 with white. At the same time, it can get quite tactical after that.
Yeah, and not necessarily white is unhappy about it, because I mean he has to win on demand, and unless has immediate ways, black has immediate ways to liquidate. Like you're about to make move knight c6, which by the way sometimes is a move in these positions. So I think if you would play knight c6, I want to take on c6, and yeah, queen c7. Queen c7 was just played.
And don't you find it interesting that Yasipenko plays very fast? Was he so much ready for expecting this opening that Yakubayev will be playing this way?
I think that he knew of the setup. If he could go back to the d3, there's no way he plays a6, Judith, very quickly. And I think you're going to agree with this, because he knows the setup. He knows that c5, knight e5 is a thing. I mean, I would be really surprised if you're a world-class player and you don't know this position at all. You're seeing it like an active player. You're seeing it for the first time. And there's this entire sequence of bishop d6, queen c7. I do not think that he recognized queen b3, because like you said, Judith, queen b3 feels weird in this position. And I tried to recall what was the follow-up that black would typically play in this position before. So I would like to highlight two potential ideas, right? So can we maybe go back a bit, and instead of the bishop d6 move where black played it, there's two lines I would like to show you. So here, instead of a6 and queen b3, right? So here, if black would play, let's say black would play c5, knight e5, and let's say queen c7. So that was the big idea, right? So queen c7, white plays f4. And now there was this idea for black to play, I think it was a6 or rook d8. Yeah, these are very interesting moves. And your idea ultimately is to play e4. And there's some very interesting unbalanced positions like knight c3. And then black has a chance to play either a6 or knight c6 or knight e7. So this leads to all kinds of unbalanced ideas. I was really hoping, Judith, actually, for this position, because there was a very explosive idea. I was hoping to see that Yakubayev might play it out. Okay, let's keep it currently as a secret and go back a bit. But the other move we discussed, instead of the a6 and rook d8, if black will play knight bd7, and that was instead of queen c7. That was the other idea. So instead of we go back a bit. So yeah, here. Black plays knight e7. I believe this was also one of the questions that we were discussing before. So now you can take on d7. Knight takes on d7. Bishop takes on d7. White plays e4. Black has a choice to take on e4 or not. Let's assume he does take it. D takes on e4, D takes on e4, bishop c6, and queen e2. So that's the idea. We keep the queens on the board. We stop black's b5 idea. And I'm thinking about future ideas like put the knight on c3, like rook d1, you're highlighting a4 to stop the b5 from happening. I'm playing at the king side with f4 and potentially even lifting the rook from the queen side to rook a3 and do the third rank lift of the rook from the queen side. And this position actually is very dangerous from a practical point of view for black. And I think this is also the reason why Yesepenko decided to make this novelty a6. And that's why, as you said, Judith, I did not immediately recognize that, and the players immediately went sideways. So that's the current position. And the players are trying to figure out this bishop d6 and queen c7 move for Yakoboyev seems to be a bit surprised. He is trying to figure out what to do. But actually, Judith, I'm thinking if you go back to the current position after this queen c7, I don't think he's really worried about the pawn on e5. Because like sacrificing this pawn on e5, like bishop e5, f takes on e5, queen e5 is a pretty standard theme for these positions. And he's just thinking, what should I do? Yeah, like you're highlighting, knight c3 is a move. And even though he might be out of the book, he got what he wanted, which is a rather unusual and sharp game.
I have a question. Knight c3 is one thing which comes to mind. The other one is to take on d5 first, and after, let's say, he takes d5 to go knight c3. And then the idea is, let's say, if bishop takes e5, it looks kind of dangerous for black giving up the black square bishop, right? So now I can go bishop f4 first. Also, of course, sometimes I have this idea to sacrifice my rook and come knight d5 and have all these sharp things. But let's say I would go bishop f4 first to push back the queen. And after all, this queen on b3 does its job, right? And the bishop on the long diagonal on g2 after knight d5 seems to be pretty dangerous for black.
Yeah, I think you're right. And like this is also one of the reasons why I have to confess I really like this line, because it gives me the Leningrad Dutch vibes. Because it feels like the Leningrad from the black's perspective. The pawn is in the 4, the bishop on g2, and the knight on e5. And when I'm looking at it like that, from the white's perspective, feels like it's a dream Leningrad position from the white's perspective. So I think you're right, Judith. This c takes on d5 inclusion, it makes perfect sense. So does he include it right now? Or does he play knight c3? I'm not entirely sure, but what I also really like about this position, these structures, is that they can very nicely transpose into something else. So for example, this Leningrad Dutch, like it gives the vibes in this position. Sometimes you get some modern Benoni positions, like let's say I'm playing knight c3 at some point, let's say without taking on d5 and black plays d4. We have some sort of a modern Benoni with a mix of the Leningrad, I don't know, and it looks interesting.
But maybe after d4 it looks not so convenient for white because there is no good space for the knight. I'm just looking at it. For example, knight e4 cannot be the move because after bishop e4 I think we are losing some material with f6, and the knight either goes to g3 or g4, and then black goes f5 and white is losing some material. So maybe for concrete measures, knight c3 is not such a good option immediately, I have the feeling. I would go deeper into this direction because it is very concrete, right, to take on d5. My first question is, by the way, can black take with the knight? Because somehow it does not feel right for me to give up my bishop from g2. Right? I mean, black has huge compensation by bishop h3 or whatever, bishop e6. I mean, this is something I would definitely not be afraid of with white. So no, I would happy with black. I'm sorry. So instead of e takes d5, I go knight d5. So what's white's continuation? Is knight c4 an idea, maybe?
Knight c4 is an idea, or we can keep the knight on e5 hanging. Like this entire idea of sacrificing the pawn is always in the air. So perhaps we can consider continuing playing the gambit, the knight c3, exactly.
Mhm.
And let's say now black decides to take the pawn. I don't think the evaluation really has changed. It still feels pretty dangerous. So let's be the pawn grabber and try to grab the pawn. Knight c3, bx on c3. I think, Judith, you would sacrifice such a pawn before breakfast easily. Like you just see the bishops open, the diagonals open, files. It's just gotta work. And now we have to justify to the audience why does it work? But it's gotta work. We have this feeling, right?
Well, you know, it's not even a real pawn sacrifice. I think can't white go simply bishop b7 at this point? Obviously, that's not the first thing I would look for. I would look for bishop f4 and some attack. I mean, look at that, those bishops on these diagonals, queen on b3, everything. And what is this? What is this for black? What is this?
Bad news.
It's
just
bad
bad
news.
news.
Storage. Storage
Bishop
place.
b7. Bishop b7 is very, very bad news for black indeed. And I think this extra 1 pawn or 2 pawns for black, it just doesn't feel right. And I think that very good players don't really look into this in greater depth. So we can most likely cross it out. So what was it? Knight c3, b takes on c3. Maybe indeed continue development with knight d7. And now you mentioned Judith. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Now, you mentioned this idea of knight c4 earlier. Like, I want to keep black pieces a bit clumsy. Let's say you want to save your dark bishop with bishop e7. And again, I'm seeing all kinds of very interesting ideas, like if black indeed retreats with a bishop, a4 or even f5 is an idea. And this f5 idea is also very common for these positions. You sacrifice the pawn, you play bishop f4, and suddenly the black queen has nowhere really to go. So I would be very excited to play this if I was white.
I agree with you, absolutely. But in this position, instead of knight c4, it even came to my mind that d4 can be also interesting to stabilize the knight on e5. Though knight c4 I like better, but even stabilizing it this way, it looks pretty nice. I don't know why the computer doesn't like it, but I don't pay attention to that.
You're right. All right. Yeah, d4 looks very interesting.
But
so you're saying
let's go back here, because I think cd5 is the move, right? This seems to be the key move. And after, if knight d5, we say knight c3. So what is black reaction here? This is what I'm wondering.
Perhaps take with an e-pawn then? And what was the issue? So after e takes on d5, knight c3, right?
So what about d4, if black is not giving up the bishop?
Can I play knight e5 and attempt to apply some pressure to the pawn on f7? Like, I have difficulties to understand how black is going to develop the queen side. Like knight c6, is this something you want to do? Maybe, like, it's a concrete position, but I would be afraid to double those pawns. And knight e7 obviously would leave the pawn on f7.
What about taking and then knight jump?
Knight c6. Yeah, it could work.
Don't tell me that after bishop f4 you go knight e5.
Yeah, but what else?
Well, knight e7 could lose on the spot, right?
Oh, that's lovely.
Just to enjoy ourselves for the morning time.
That's nice. This is why we're doing the puzzles.
Yeah.
Okay. That looks nice. And what else is there?
Well, instead of knight e7, my question is, can black take on e5? Which looks scary to as hell, but
Yeah,
it
like
does
I do
not.
not see.
If
I mean, some
this move,
e3, or oh, you want to immediately play bishop
no,
f7.
because queen f7. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was thinking like e3, rook e1, but probably it's too slow. Like I want to open up the e-file, I want to get to the knight on e5, but that does feel a bit slow. Maybe it's the way. Some bishop h3, I don't know, like rook fe1, rook ae8. The pawn on b7 is also under attack. There's a bit, like, from black's perspective, I find it very difficult to go here. Like, I see all kinds of unpleasantries. I mean, white is not risking anything for black. It doesn't feel like this is the way to liquidate. What do you think, Judith? Yeah. Not really sure. So rook e1, pinning the pawn, the knight on e5. Yeah, black needs to make a lot of tough choices. So this bishop d6 that happened, it clearly for Yakoboyev it feels like it's a pretty big moment. Judith, this c takes on d5 or knight c3. I like c takes on d5, and I think he's like pretty deep in this position. C takes, trying to understand if black takes with the knight or with the pawn. My gut instinct tells that pawn takes on d5, like c takes on d5, pawn takes on d5 is the right way to go, but I don't know.
It's interesting that Yakovlev is thinking so much now because, well, at the same time, it can speed up after his decision whether he's taking on d5 or playing knight c3 immediately. But I don't know. Do you think he might be thinking moving back his knight to f3? I don't think this is an option.
I have a theory. Because I know this one explosive line, and which features gambits. And maybe, Judith, Yakoboyev is thinking, can I recreate this idea? So what I'm thinking is e4. So e4, it's a bit crazy move. The point is, it feels like we are dropping material. So black, of course, black's going to play d takes on e4. And there was this idea in some lines to ignore the pawn and play something like knight e2 or knight c3. But like, I do not know if this idea is applicable with a queen on b3. I do not know this position because there was this sensational idea with a queen on d1. You play e4, you sacrifice the pawn, and then you just play some quite developing moves, and suddenly Stockfish starts to really appreciate your initiative. And it could be that Yakoboyev is, he's trying to recreate this idea, and he's looking into this possibility that maybe there's a room for something. But okay, no, he took Judith the pawn on d5, but I think he was very tempted to go into something like this.
Well, he has to keep the game going, and he has to come up with things that it makes Yasipenko think, right? After c takes d5, actually, I would be surprised if Yasipenko would be thinking too long. At the same time, there is a question which piece to take back. Because if after knight d5, what we looked at, if knight c3, it seems that white has a very pleasant position because knight c3 comes with the tempo. Black has no time to develop, while if he has to go back to f6 or e7, it's clearly white has a beautiful position, right? Couldn't dream of anything better than that.
Yeah, and also the bishop on c8 visually feels quite ugly. So even based on that, I think that black wants to take on d5. He wants to activate the bishop on c8 and then see what happens. So you can see Yasipenko is about to make the move. I think he expected c takes on d5 to be played. E takes on d5, of course, is the response. And Judith, we expect knight c3 here? Or do you think there's a blue arrow here? All right, look at that. There's not
There
like,
is no other move.
yeah, no other moves really here.
I mean, no healthy other move that you you could have a choice, right? Especially now that Black's bishop is opened up, so you cannot have time to allow Black to play knight c6 or bishop e6 first. I mean, I would be very surprised if Nodirbak would be start thinking for 5 or 10 or whatever minutes. He should be playing. I mean, he was spending quite some time on c takes d5. He should be ready to flesh out his next move, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're probably right, and I'm not really sure what's the move for Andre is going to be after knight c3, because this d4 move, it feels like it's a thing. Bishop takes to d5 in all versions, Judith. It feels very.
Oops! Look at that.
Wow.
Giving up that beautiful bishop.
No way.
It was so beautiful.
Wow.
This is not the reason you go fianchetto, right?
Okay,
You're speechless.
I'm speechless. Like I thought you do not stake such a pawn on d5. Like you very nicely illustrated, Judith, that those light squares, they're just begging for some attention, and White just scans them on the platter and says, there you go, have them, I'm gonna have my pawn for it. Perhaps he didn't feel that knight c3 gives him the necessary complications, or he found some liquidating chances for Black. But Judith, I mean, this bishop takes on d5, that's taking a lot of risks, isn't it?
Yeah, but as we know, and he knows it, and he has the pressure of double or nothing, and this is the kind of move we can say double or nothing, right? It took a pawn, so we have to break it down why we are not so happy with this decision by Yakoboyev with bishop d5. What is the best way for Black to react, right? Because Black has several ideas. First of all, Black, I don't know if I can just take back knight d5 takes and just making developing moves. Let's say what happens if I just go bishop h3. Well, I could gain back, by the way, the pawn instantly, maybe. Going bishop e6.
That looks like a reasonable move. Bishop e6 or bishop h3. I think that Yesepenkov's expression was like, what? Really? You took the pawn on d5? Is this even legal? Apparently it is legal. So I think that Yesepenkov was quite a bit of surprised by this move. Okay, there you go. Like, it feels very risky. You know, Judith, of course, my first gut instinct would be like, can I put the bishop on the long diagonal? Like, White has big problems of this h1, a8 diagonal. So for Black, I would want to play b5, bishop b7. But yeah, wait, but that leaves the rook hanging. So b5, and bishop b7. This cannot be good for White, right? I mean, I'm afraid for the queen. Some c4 or knight c6. That's pretty bad. Queen c6. Goodbye. Bishop e8. Or rook a8. You choose.
My God.
That's lights out. Yeah. So b5.
Oh my God! If b5 works, ooh,
But this is not really such a difficult move, is it? Like, I mean, if you can formulate, I want to put the bishop on the long diagonal. If you put these thoughts in your head, the bishop belongs there, and you think about the idea to sacrifice the rook, the rest is very straightforward.
Okay, so Black reacts, taking on d5, most logical, not spending much time. Queen takes d5. I'm sure. I mean, b5 did not come to Nodirbak's mind at all. He just was busy with what I was the first intention: bishop h3, bishop e6, how to react. But actually, maybe if it's not b5, it's not so bad for white. But b5 is making to shift the whole game. And if Esipenko finds b5, then...
once you see it, you can't unsee it, basically. And that's the question, right? He might not see it because, Judith, there's bishop e6, you mentioned, bishop h3, especially coming like with a tempi. But like if you get this thought in your mind that the bishop belongs on the long diagonal, it's immediately, I think, very straightforward for him.
And it's there. Look at that.
Big trouble for Yakoboev right there.
You saw the look? Did you see the look, Esipenko, after b5?
Like, I got you.
I got
I got you.
And I have the feeling that the heartbeat is faster for Esipenko, you know? Because when you see this, oh my God, b5, bishop b7, it's like game over. Not game over, I'm sorry. Match over.
And look at the facial expression of Norderbeck. Like, okay, now there is no point for poker faces. Like, he knows. Like, this was not a plan for him. He was going for this entire idea. He knew it's ugly, and he immediately stood up and walked away. Like, he knows it's ugly, but he's got a way to complicate things. And b5 was not the plan. And Judith, I don't know, I mean, how do you continue here? Because I have a feeling you cannot even keep the extra pawn because, like, black wants to play bishop b7 and just snatch this knight on e5. So if you're greedy, you have to be greedy all the way. Like play, I don't know, knight f3. But that is just pure suffering. Retreat with the knight, knight f3, bishop b7, queen b3. It just looks like such a terrible position. You got the pawn, but there's no fun. Queen h5 something. Yeah, maybe let's be aggressive. Some queen h5, pretend that there's a checkmate or something. Yeah. With g5, I don't know, but you got to do this. I mean, otherwise, what else?
Well, I'm just so upset for white that we are not going to see a real game. Right? No real fight.
Yeah.
It's so sad for white.
So easy. Yeah. Maybe there's... Okay, yeah, like... Evaluation bar kills everything, of course. It says there's no hope. Like I'm hoping for some e4, f5, desperado. But Judith, I quite do not believe it myself.
The problem is with those bishops, it's hard to be enthusiastic for white.
Yeah.
And the bar is just killing all the small hopes for white. I don't know how black is killing it.
I could easily imagine here Norderbeck spending half an hour. It's just such a very difficult psychological moment to be in. Like b5 was not in his cards. He did not see this coming. And it's also a terrible feeling to yourself. Like you spend some time and you miss a move. And when you miss a move and you immediately recognize how strong of a move it is, like you're not yourself anymore. It's like getting through one of those boxing punches. You're not the same anymore. And for Yakoboev, unfortunately, you can literally see the heartbreak like in his eyes. Like, okay, he's still obviously trying to calculate, trying to manage the nerves, but this has got to give you like a sinking feeling that this is it, how it ends. Like after such a fantastic tournament, making to the semifinals, you get this. Yeah, you get this terrible game, which started so promising with this d3, with these unusual positions, and just one mouse slip, maybe not mouse slip, but hand slip, and you're here.
But the thing is, that it can also be a little bit that after you're playing so many games, he played also more than 20 games in this event so far, you're just losing your sense of danger. And you're losing your intuition also. Because bishop takes d5, we were talking about it, that it's so hard to imagine that it can work, that it can be good. And as Yasipenko was also playing very fast, White could figure it out also, that it's that pawn was not given just for nothing, because Yasipenko has such a good heart and likes to give away pawns like that. So was also possible to get to sense. I think the sense of danger left Yakuboyev. This is the biggest problem here, because going bishop that's another story, that he blundered b5, but bishop d5 does not have a good sense to play, right? And poor him, as we see the camera shows. I mean, he's suffering, and it's so painful to see him ended up put himself in this very difficult situation. And it's true that if b5 is not there, it's maybe not so bad, but for black, I think black has compensation anyway.
Yeah, like you're right, Judith. Like he lost a sense of the danger, because I mean, this entire idea of b5, it was always there. Like, I mean, Yasipenko literally played a6 with an idea to play b5, and somehow it just, I mean, he forgot about it. And I think right now Noderbek is looking at this and he just couldn't believe, like, am I playing this for white? Like, I've done this myself sometimes. You, Judith, you probably also have been there, like you making the move, and after you make the move, you're like sitting there, was this me? I mean, did I just play that? It's just unbelievable. Sometimes they can make you.
And it's incredible that also it happened with me, that I have a position, I stand up, I go away from the board, I go for a walk. Of course, here it's more difficult for the players because there is no other game to watch. But still, he stood up, he went away, he comes back, and suddenly he's realized, oh my God, this is the board I have to sit on from the white side. He goes knight f3. This is what we discussed also. Probably what else, right?
Who has this ugly position? Oh no, that's my game. I'm the one who has to make the move. And knight f3, by the way, played very quickly, Judith. I was wrong. I thought he's going to spend here like half an hour to relive his life choices, but he's going to push it.
But he can't afford showing the weakness of spending half an hour. I tell you a funny story about which board to sit. I was playing in 92. 92? Yeah, I think 92 was the first time I played in the Najdorf tournament. Miguel Najdorf, a great hero, fantastic historical figure. Bishop b7 was played in the meantime, pushing away the queen. So I'm playing in Buenos Aires for the first time in his tournament, and Miguel, who knew him personally, they can visualize him. A very kind, elderly man. He was around 70 something like that, 68, 70, something like that. So he's there sitting and with little belly, of course, in the suit every day, like a businessman. But he loved to play blitz games when I was visiting his home also. All the time, any grandmaster around, he always asked, okay, come play a blitz. But okay, this is the round going on in Buenos Aires. And of course, after work, he was always coming over and going on stage looking. It was a category 16 or something. Almost everyone was a grandmaster, of course, from locally and also from Chile and the surroundings, and some European grandmasters like Nikolic was playing, and so on. And on stage, he's walking around checking the games. And of course, the players were going around, right? As Yakubiev also stood up and was walking around. So for Najdorf, it was a kind of a habit that he's looking around. He's an elderly man. And then when he thinks there is an interesting position going on, he was sitting down in the place of one of the grandmaster, and he starts sitting there. You can imagine for the opponent how it was. Instead of Morovic playing the game, suddenly you sit opposite to Miguel Najdorf, sitting there, having his hand at the board and really thinking deeply. So it happened, the opponent played the move, and then I think it was Morovic who came back to the board, and he was kind of wanted to be polite, telling Miguel that can you give my seat because I'm on my move. So it's sometimes it makes funny, but this position with white, I think nobody would like to have the seat instead of Nadir back. But he went queen f5 pretty fast.
Yeah, and maybe queen f5 is of a bit more practical value. Like, I quite immediately do not understand what's the difference between queen h5 and queen f5, Judith. Maybe the big idea is that you're thinking about knight g5, and that this would force black to play g6. And instead of queen h5, this was like the automatic response for me. Then knight g5 basically disappears because black can play h6. So the small nuance of bringing the knight on g5 and attacking black with a basic checkmate threat is there. But yeah, I doesn't really rule out the problems that black faces at the moment, that white faces at the moment. The game continues, and for Yesipenko, I think he knows that he's definitely doing fantastic. Maybe what he's not really sure, like how great are you doing this position? He's absolutely positive that he has more than enough compensation for the pawn. And then maybe you might have these conflicted feelings. So what do? Do you try to liquidate from a positional strength, or actually do you better play for the victory? Because Judith, we have heard this truth, so to speak, many times. When you need to make a draw on demand, the best way to accomplish it is you just play for the win.
Exactly. But in this position, I don't think it's possible for black to play for a draw. Maybe it will be a move in a later stage, in several moves later, after black developed his piece, his knight either to c6 and possibly go to d4, or to go knight d7 and reaching out to f6, and after that bring the rook and play c4. I think that's kind of a plan for black. Maybe in a later stage, there will be a simplification option for black to go to a completely drawish endgame, or to move on and play for a win. Of course, draw and the win is the same for Yesipenko. That's clear. He's not going to make any spectacular decisions in order to win the game, because the draw is not enough. Because for him, the most important thing is to secure his spot in the candidates, and he needs a draw. That's all he needs. But for now, he sacrificed the pawn, which was extremely dangerous to take for white, which was taken. I mean, it's not nice to play with white. At the same time, it asks question from black. This is what I said in the beginning, that Yakubayev will have to play that ask questions from Yesipenko. But now the question is for him, what is the best move to keep my advantage? This is the only problem, that this is the question, not only to make a good move. But black has several ideas here, and I'm not sure what is the best, to be honest, because knight g5 is not going to be so strong by any means, I think, because black goes g6 and then pushing the pawn. I'm wondering if knight d7 is the best, with the idea, for example, if knight g5, then simply, g6, and then I go knight f6. This was my idea, just to bring.
That looks very tempting, but it also weakens the king a bit. And I could see easily white thinking about some future ideas like f5, adding more fuel to the fire. Either way, one thing is really clear, the viewers, that Yakubayev did miss the bishop b7 idea, because we could literally see it in his face, and he managed to overcome it very quickly. He's a big fighter. For Yesipenko, he is the one facing the questions, as Judith already mentioned. While he's trying to figure out what are the answers to these questions, in the meantime, you can check out our Chess Up advertisement. So, the Chess Up annual holiday, it starts today. And you can save even more with the promo code CHESS. So through December 1st, you can save $100 on your Chess Up 2. This physical electronic board syncs to your chess.com rated games, which you can then save and analyze on chess.com. Chess Up 2 supports players of all levels, so use the opportunity, use exclamation mark Chess Up in the chat to unlock $100 till the 1st of December, the lowest price of their holiday sales season. And in the meantime, dear viewers, we are going to make a very short break. Hope you're enjoying the coverage so far. The action, the games, at least the remaining game at least, is not boring. There's a lot of things going on, so see you in a couple of minutes.
You're a grandmaster and I'm a retired IM. So I'm gonna actually use this board to have the advantage. If I'm touching a piece, it's gonna show me whether it's a good move, a bad move, or a decent move.
Okay, okay.
What if I touch this? Oh, taking is not a good idea. So what's a good idea?
It's ridiculous.
That's it.
It's ridiculous.
I know it.
A lot of people fall for that.
I know you want to flag me, but I'm just like, I'm gonna go sometimes with my intuition, sometimes with the magic of this board.
I think we need to try to bring the pieces back.
No way, Aman! Take that!
There's just no way this works.
I calculated it till the end.
I mean, I have to, you know, out of respect for the move.
I got it. It's not a good move to take it. Is it queen h6? It's queen h6 first. Of course I know it.
What? I don't know how I stop this. I got nothing here. I can't even move. Anna.
Thank you, Aman.
Good game.
What do you mean, good game?
Good game.
It's the best game of my life.
You are actually now 1-0 against me lifetime.
Yes. Does that make me a grandmaster?
Generally, education itself is, I think, one of the nicest things in our everyday life and for humans. At the same time, obviously, it's very difficult and very challenging because my parents are teachers, so for them it was their work also. So they made an experiment, as my father used to say, that he believed that with a lot of work, with dedication, with focusing, specializing, it means that that's the way for happiness and being successful. At the same time, of course, everyone has to understand that it depends who you are as a parent. First of all, you have to be very much be supportive of each other, the husband and wife. And after that, if you're on the same page all the time, not today, tomorrow, but every week, 365 days a year, and for decades, that's already a good start. And then you can go from there to support in a special way, like unusual way of making them growing up and focusing on supporting to be for them a sport person, being a chess player, being a mathematician, being whatever, but really focusing on that. I think if the parents have that dedication, that they are ready to give up their own job, their own holidays, their own ambitions, then of course it's a beautiful job, I think, or it can be being supportive on a sport child, let's say. Because whether you're making chess or swimming or any specific sport or area, it means that you're giving up your weekends, you're giving up many of your time because the kid has to be going there. And it means that you transform yourself supporting. I mean, it's not only my case, but also you see the Indian kids, for example, with the world champion Gukesh. His father is there all the time. Or Magnus Carlsen, his family was always there behind him from a very young age. So I would say that for parents who think that this is easy, it's not easy, but it's a very special lifestyle for them as well. And if they understand that, then it can be a beautiful journey.
we're resuming the coverage from Goa in India, where the FIDE World Cup 2025 has reached the final stages. Today, this is the game and match for the third place, and perhaps even what is more important, the remaining spot in the upcoming FIDE Candidates Tournament. Yesepenko won yesterday with the very first game with the white collar, and basically 30 minutes ago, Yakoboev, who has to win the game on demand with a white collar, he made a pretty big mistake. Currently, his position is quite dangerous, but Judith, he does enjoy the extra pawn, and maybe the game is not over. What do you think? Does he have any realistic chances to try to complicate stuff, or it's just lights out for the Uzbekistan star?
Well, to be honest, I don't know how much he's enjoying it, his extra pawn, but it's a fact that he has an extra pawn, right? And what I've seen through the camera, seeing Asipenko walking, his body language definitely says that. I'm doing fine, thank you. I couldn't dream of anything better than what I'm dealing with in this position. Even though he gave up a pawn, he has such an enormous counterplay with, such a development advantage, having the bishop pair, having this diagonal, look at white's pieces and the storage, A1, B1, C1, all these pieces. Also the queen on F5, I can't say that it's so happy. At the same time, I don't know where it would stand better. So also the F4, in this case, it was serving very well, supporting the E5 knight before, but now we would be much more happy to have it on F2. Then the whole position, we could say that it's a whole different story in judgment and evaluation, I believe. So this F4 makes a huge trouble for white's position, because also it's very difficult for white to play, because of course white would be happy kind of to push E4 and strengthen the center and blocking the bishop on B7, and also possibly at some points to go further to E5. At the same time, once white goes E4, for example, now if white goes E4, then I believe C4 would be a very unpleasant continuation for white side, because the bishop can show up on C5, which can be quite unpleasant from the white side. I don't know if we move on and let's say white goes E5, how bad it is. The bar is playing jokes on me. I feel
I think it's pretty bad, yeah.
Probably the problem is that really white's development is so much behind that black can play simply very simple moves. Black doesn't even have to find any difficult move. So it's white who is struggling a lot. White is, it's like, tiptoeing on ice. And E4 is on the board.
E4 is on the board, Judith, and I'm a bit surprised. Why not knight C3? I was thinking, you have problems with development. This is the first thing I think you want to do. You want to bring out your queenside pieces. What was the reason? Does he think his position is so bad that he has to go for this unprepared kingside attack? So, what do you think, Judith? What did he see in the knight C3 line, and just put the knight out, bishop on D2, rook E1, and just hope it works? Maybe he was afraid of this knight of 6, bishop C8 idea, that his queen has nowhere to go.
Well, I think Yakoboev is now just putting all in, and he's playing roulette. He just puts it on number 13, and let's see. And we all know what are the chances.
They're not great. They're
Well,
not great at all.
You have to be optimistic, and luck can turn. But after E4, I have a very bad feeling towards in the outcome of the game for Nodirbak. Knight C3, of course, I think that's the first thing comes to mind, that please, let's get out of with my pieces, at least now after Knight C3. I have Knight E4, block the bishop. I want to block the bishop with Knight D5, somehow to try to grab control over some very important squares, right? And also, maybe I can even dream of bringing my bishop out to e3. Because after e4, what he played, my problem is that in such a positions with black, immediately you don't even mind giving up a piece, right? Very fast. Once you see those pieces in the corner for white, all the 3 pieces which I mentioned before, and I will keep mentioning it continuously until they are standing there, because this is like 3 pieces down for white at the moment. So white cannot just open up the position, play attacking with e5 or anything, because gaining a piece, it's not going to help on him having a good position. So just going back for a second with your knight c3, I understand that white is not happy with the position itself, but well, probably after knight c3, maybe I would just go g6, you know. And I would even consider to play f5. Maybe this is what was his problem. I would even consider, well, maybe knight g5. Without the bishop on g2, even knight g5 never works. I mean, knight g5, I just go knight f6. And I have a great control with these pawns, I think, controlling these very important squares.
Can you maybe put it on screen, this knight e6 line, so that also for the audience and also for me it's clear what happens there? Because I see I'm winning an exchange, but yeah, the checkmate web is getting
Arthur,
really
don't
scary.
tell me you were thinking to grab my rook. I didn't even
I was
consider
thinking
it.
about it.
Oh.
Wait, what else? What else? There's got to be a mate somehow, yeah?
I just thought this is not a question. But it seems like it's maybe a question. I can't believe it that it's a question.
At least queen h1 immediately is not the mate, right? So queen h1, king f2, knight g4, king e1. I escape.
Yeah, you're escaping. So I give all the great options for white. So this is what I'm not doing, okay? So after rook f8, if I just take this back.
Yeah, e4. Can I do that? I close the diagonal and include some queen e6.
I just go b4.
I don't argue about it. I'm just trying to find some lifeline for white.
I understand, and it's very much appreciated by me that you're taking white in this position. It's not me who has to defend it. b4 immediately looks also quite promising, I must say.
But it's very again, actually. Yeah,
it's very intuitive.
Yeah. White has an extra rook, but black is just dominating the position. So,
everything
yeah,
because
b4.
Of this.
Yeah, lovely. Yeah, b4, even knight g4, c4, bishop c5. All the black's pieces are just standing fantastic. By the way, Judith, c4 was played by Yesipenko in the game, and I'm very impressed by the speed. He doesn't really feel bothered at all, and he's immediately attempting to exploit the weaknesses in white's position. And yeah, so as you said, white is going all in, knight g5, e5, ignoring all the queenside pieces, but I have a feeling this is gonna come to a crushing end very quickly. Bishop e3. Oh, sacrificing a pawn. That's
and black is
actually
going to take it. Don't you think so?
Yeah, but the point is after c takes on d3, knight bd2, at least I complete my development. I covered the logical weaknesses. I know the position is terrible. So maybe this was his idea all along. He saw knight c3. He saw your refutation, Judah, this g6 f5. He didn't really see what to do. And he felt that the pawn has to stand there anyway. So you want to play bishop c5? Can I play d4?
I was considering d4. I want to go g6. And this pawn is vulnerable.
Queen h3. How bad is it?
Maybe I just move away.
And
then you go e5.
Even e5, yeah. An f5 and some hopes. I wanted to include actually knight bd2. I wanted to complete development and then play e5 whenever I feel. But this feels like there's some hope for white. Like if this happens. And I immediately, to be honest, I quite do not understand why it's so bad. Like according to an engine, like -2 or something, even more. It looks bad, but it also looks pretty logical for white. Well, at least what he's doing.
Well, yeah, giving back the pawn and play knight d2, I kind of agree with you. That, okay, finally white is stable. E4 pawn is protected. This bishop c5 is not so deadly dangerous. I mean, it's not fun for white. I mean, I could even go bishop c5. Just saying it that it's not dangerous, okay, why not to play it? But also another idea, not to play bishop c5 immediately, but to play g6, pushing your queen away, and then to play bishop c5.
Oh, that's even stronger. Now the queen on h3 is not doing anything, so let's maybe include the trade. I don't think that white has anything else. Bishop c5, some queen c5 could be unpleasant, or even knight c5 is a simpler move.
Well, queen c5 comes with the tempo, but I was thinking to take with the knight and put pressure on this one.
Some hope for white, no? I mean, rook ae1, and I'm gonna go some all-in, like knight g5 immediately, or rook ae1, knight g. No, rook ae1. I wanted to like complete development. It's like literally every single piece I have is targeted at the black king, and then whatever, f5, knight g5. This doesn't look so terrible.
You know, you're telling me so many times f5 that I play myself.
Okay. Okay, that's the move I didn't want to see.
Well, the bar is playing games on us, but I don't see white having such a great position. But I think you're absolutely right that it doesn't seem to be so bad as it as the bar shows. My question is, what do you do? Can I sacrifice going knight c5? What about this move?
Oh, that's strong. With the idea that after the takes, you can even include a queen trade. I don't know if you need it, but it's a good thing to clarify things and then just grab the pawn.
I think I'm not so nice to exchange.
Oh, you want more?
Yeah. I don't know if rook c1 is... Maybe rook c1 and b4 can be played.
Yeah, but this suddenly starts not look so clear, because again, white is like one move away from completing development, and knight g5 is always there. I actually thought, Judith, that you want to take on c5 with a queen to rely on the
yeah, position. It's possible to simplify, true.
And then take, king g2 and c takes on d3. It feels like it's a very safe position for black. Like, d4, I'm missing d4 again.
But I'm not sure it's any problem for black, not that you play d4. I mean, these two bishops are quite powerful.
Maybe the question would be, would you go here if you were playing with black?
The problem for black, by the way, that's the main issue, that black has several ways, continuations, how to play it. And you can end up, as what we are doing now, that, okay, I can do this. It's not so good. Let's try another one. And then you look another one. It should be better than this. And then you go back, right? And then you go back and forth continuously, and you're complaining that how come? I should be winning in this position, and I might even have only a little better. And that's not enough. At the same time, if Yasipenko can keep his calm and stay realistic, he should be not losing this game, unless he's going to be blundering some crazy thing like in his game against Wei, his rook on g2. But at the same time, it's true that black has to think sharp and has to make decisions which direction he's going. Does he want to keep the queens on, or he goes for the more solid and looks for the drawish simplification, right? Or does he say, no, I have to play always the very best move, and then I keep the queen? But it's a question. How good is the position? This is the big question for him, to get to understand it, that how great is the position. CD3 looks a very logical continuation. I was surprised that after knight c5, bishop c5 is a move, and it's not losing immediately.
So can we maybe check this g6? Okay. I want to check a bit further the c takes on d3, but okay, let's start maybe with g6. Yeah,
I just don't want to allow you to develop, I just try to feel the momentum that can I get something more out of it? But maybe it's not. And maybe to go now knight c5.
And I take it on c5.
Yeah, but if you take it, maybe I take it back, and somehow you will. Maybe now I can even. I'm taking with bishop, and if you go d4, I was taking to give up. I just don't want.
Yeah, I also noticed it.
I just don't want to see you develop.
That's a great idea. Yeah, no, the spin on the knight on f3 looks really killing. Rook d8, there's no knight bd2, rook d3, the queen on h3 is disconnected. I think this line is quite human. I really like it. The question is if Yesipenko is looking in this direction. So I like what you said, Judith. Push back the queen, g6, queen h3.
You know what? The big queen stands actually very bad on h3. Because after d4, I'm just realizing that I think bishop d4 is also possible. And queen b6. And rook d8.
Mm-hmm.
So there are several tactical ideas. And actually, this is the feeling I have. If I would be playing with the black pieces, then this is what I feel, that, come on, I should be winning this game, right? The game should be not last more than 10 moves. I mean, probably it's not. I don't know. Probably it's not true, but still, I have this feeling.
Okay, so if after knight c5, I think you're totally right on this because white is so underdeveloped and all the light square weaknesses are there. So knight c5, if white could not take on c5, and actually from a strategical point of view, it quite doesn't make any sense because I mean this bishop e3 is basically the last active piece that white has, and you have a bit weakened black king. So maybe this is the moment where you kind of go all in and go for this knight g5.
Yeah, knight g5 is possible, though I think after knight g5, it's important to take a look also what happens on f6. Because if you go knight e6, I might just go queen d7, no?
And this is f5.
I also was thinking actually just to take on e6. And go king e8.
Yeah, that looks really good.
Or king g7.
King h8? Why not king g7?
Yeah.
Probably also just as good.
Well, still you go, I understand, knight d2 and trying to hold the position, but it's far from nice for white.
Yeah.
And then...
Okay, so... Yeah, so it doesn't work for white. So you could have played knight g5. f6, I think it's quite easy to spot for black because otherwise how else do you defend against the mate? h5 looks ugly. Can I do something else like f5? Oh, you want to play e5?
Okay, f5.
Okay, f5.
That's your move, f5. You try to... Okay.
I don't know what I'm trying. I'm trying to play some queen h6, knight g5, f6 ideas.
Like, you try to survive. The thing is that after queen h6, I just go rook e8. Oops, I did blunder something. What is it? What did I blunder?
Some
knight g5, f6. F6, fg, yeah?
And rook f7, yeah. That's nice.
Okay, so I found a way to ruin it and go for the playoff.
Without the queen side, actually. So this would feel quite
yeah. Okay, the bishop reached out to e3. Sorry about that. So where we are, you went f5.
Yeah.
Okay. So you
To be honest, I
demonstrate.
didn't see all of
Can
this.
be
I just
dangerous.
felt like I have to push it. I have to push it towards the king and just pray it works.
And what happens if I take with the pawn? Also something really bad
Knight
happens.
BD2. Can I just complete development? Like it's
You're joking.
probably
That's all you want to do?
I don't know. Why not? I mean, I don't
I
think you
thought you
could
want
take
to go
before.
queen h6.
I don't know what I want. I want to, something going on there. Like at the same
You
time,
see,
I'm
you see, I shouldn't allow you to go f5. I should stop you playing active moves like that.
Here.
Instead of
black.
knight c5, maybe. By the way, can I go f? Talking about it, e5.
Can I play knight BD2? Oh, you want to play e5? Okay.
You don't want to play e5?
No, I have like mixed feelings due to all the time. I want to complete development. I'm looking at these poor pieces, the rook on a1, the knight on b1. I just feel so terrible that they're not in the game, and I just want to somehow complete development and this. Yeah, but maybe e5.
I had one more idea, and I go this before. What happens if I take c takes d3? This is what I wanted.
Knight bd2?
Yeah, your move knight d2, and to go knight f6, can I do this? Rook c1 and d5, yeah?
Oh, no, I just want to play f5 anyway.
Anyway, f5.
Anyway, yeah, like I read in the chat that I'm obsessed with f5 square, but like I kept the bishop on e3, I kept the rook at f1. No, okay.
But you will not have your bishop on e3, I think.
Not anymore, yeah? Okay.
No. But instead of f5, which is generally great, but here I think you have better. If you go rook c1 and then e5, then maybe, or f5, doesn't matter. The thing is to stop bishop c5, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And actually white can be back in business, yeah?
No, I mean, this looks very much okay already because white is developed. The e4 pawn is maybe not even under attack. The black king's a bit weak. So for black, it's not so clear. Judith, I have a question to you. So, like, I completely understand the idea of g6, pushing back the queen. And then you mentioned this knight c5 idea. You showed a couple of beautiful ideas to sacrifice a piece. But if you're playing from black's perspective, is this the safest way? Like, how would you treat this position? Would you treat this position as something very concrete? Or you would still try to keep the king a bit protected because this g6 and potentially f5, it also weakens your king a bit? So, yeah, are you being more concrete here, or you would be like listening a lot to your gut instinct and try to find the safer move?
Well, first of all, to think this way, I understand, and it's a great question what you're asking. But sometimes you don't think that way. That okay, what should? Of course, I just offer a draw and it's a draw, and I'm moving on, right? That might be one of the idea, that how do I make a draw? At the same time, you understand that you cannot look for a draw because you have to understand the position first and then make your judgment whether you're ready to play for the best move and to play the best move to move forward to your goals, whether you win the game or it's a draw, or you're looking already for sure I would be looking what is the dangerous, how I can limit to the least for my opponent to have winning chances. But g6, it was not obvious for me what the way after analysis showed that actually after g6 maybe it is the best move, but black has to be careful a lot because f5 can come and a lot of different attacking ideas are behind it, so it can be even dangerous for black. So from this point of view, you made me feel not so good about g6 anymore, even if the computer, let's say, I don't know, actually I was not aware of it, how good the computer said. Now I'm thinking, for example, maybe knight f6 should be something I should consider. because also there are ideas of bishop c8.
Yeah, I was looking at this knight of 6. I think even was it this position or move before? Yeah, e5 and what do you do? Knight d5 or bishop c8? Maybe include first. Such a weird position.
I thought at first to go bishop c5. That's my move most of the time. But maybe you just go d4. Or yeah, sorry, you just take on d4.
Just take it on d4, yeah.
Yeah, and then knight c3 comes on queen d5. So it's interesting that how many different moves, and suddenly we see one line after another that actually black can go wrong easily. It's not even that it's so complicated. So it is a position which is not so easy to react for black. I think
yeah, but then Yakubov has made the right choice, Judith. I think he has definitely made the right choice. And like this entire sequence, what he did, missing b5 and then playing queen f5 and then playing this ugly move e4, and I was criticizing it because I was talking, how can you not complete development? And also on top of that, the ablation bar drops immediately. Everything looks pretty bad. But now we get to see the idea of this bishop e3. So it's getting really concrete. And again, I don't know what the engine says here. I see the ablation bar. It says the black is like strategically winning or something, but we're looking at these lines and like there's no immediate obvious way. And it's very easy for Yesipenko to get confused because white is like one tempi away to play knight b2. G6, Judith, as you mentioned, you're already not very sure because it does weaken the king a bit, and this f5 idea might create some counterplay for Yakoboyev. So I think even though engine doesn't approve it, considering the huge mistake he did, I think that Yakoboyev is finding some practical chances.
I absolutely agree with your thought process on this now, because bishop d5 was risky. Bishop d5 was a move which was not expected, right? Nor from us, nor from Esipenko, because this is too dangerous. It just looks bad. It's very clear cut, right? At the same time, it is very risky for white. But you're sitting at the board, you feel the pressure, you don't know, you're hesitant. Should I go g6, knight f6, bishop c5, cd3, rook e8? There are not so many moves, but still you understand the value of your moves, right? After bishop e3, we understand that white is going to develop because most likely black cannot stop white developing with knight d2. Okay, he gives back the pawn. But it's a game. It's a game. And of course, they don't see the bar, which is very helpful for both of them, I think. Intuitively, of course, we could understand that after c4, black has great compensation. No question about that. But it's a question how great compensation black has. And also, if I see correctly, it's already nearly 20 minutes that Yesipenko is thinking in his position. And it can easily be that, okay, I have a great position, I have plenty of time because he had an advantage, big time advantage before this move. So he could have thought about this way, that, okay, I have a great time advantage, my position is fantastic. I mean, I should be better, to say the least. And then this move comes, and Nodirbek starts playing faster because he played pretty fast, I think. After queen f5, he played e4 after not long thing, and bishop e3 came very fast, so he had his plan. He worked it out that this is what he wants. And time is ticking. In the first 10 minutes, you think, okay, so let's see what's the best move, right? 15 minutes passed. You start thinking the same way as what we're doing, that you're calculating different lines and you're realizing that, damn it, it's not winning. And then you start analyzing the lines and then you say, I don't see where my advantage is. And then you see that now you start to become behind in time, like 5 minutes lower than your opponent, while you had more than 15 minutes advantage. And then you start thinking, okay, now let's be serious. I have to make a move. So what am I going to do, right? And
All
then
of this,
knight 5.
This sounds like you're describing my emotions from like many games. You've been there many times. I've been there many times, like exactly like this. Like you're like, yeah, there's gotta be a win. There's gotta be. The time is passing, and you just okay. I gotta make a decision. By the way, you did make a decision. Knight c5 is on the board, not g6.
This was the first move we looked at, no?
It was, and what was the follow-up we looked at? I think it was some sort of bishop takes on c5, and we tried to include a queen trade. Was it?
And then we were discussing, yeah, should queen takes or bishop takes.
And then no, but I think we discarded this ultimately.
Yeah, because it was no, actually we looked at it with g6, queen h3, knight c5 also. But this is what we started out, I think. But here, maybe bishop d4. This is nasty. Look at this. This we left out from our calculation.
That's the idea you saw in the other line.
Yeah, where the queen was on h3, but it works here also because queen e5, rook e8. So actually after knight c5...
You can't play bishop c5. And you can't play d4. You can't play knight bd2. Okay, maybe you can play knight bd2, but then black is just going to take on d3 with the knight, and bishop c5 is still incoming.
Well, that's a whole different story. No, that's nasty. What did we see? And what about knight g5? This we also looked, and then I said g6 and f6, right?
Yeah, but we saw this line, Judith, from a different version, like different move order, and we concluded here that black is
yes, with g6, queen h3, knight c5, knight g5.
This is really powerful. So Yesemenko made a smart move. He didn't rush with g6 and knight c5. The move order here really is important, and I think he managed to figure out the strongest continuation, which also brings the question to Yakoboyev. What is he doing? Is there room for the immediate attack at the king side? Like this knight g5, Judith, doesn't work. Queen h3 is just, I don't know what's he doing. So you got to complete your development somehow, or play e5. I don't really see many options here. So either you push e5 here, or you play knight c3, something also we haven't discussed. Okay, ignore the knight on d3, but make a big face that the knight is heading to d5 or something.
Yeah, but allowed to have knight on d3 for black. After that, he will be able to play bishop c5 anytime.
Wait, can I play now knight g5? Is this making any difference?
Okay, g6.
And queen h3. So at least now you're no longer controlling the e6 square. And it's a bit different. f6, yeah.
Well, I can go f6. h5 also I would consider maybe. Of course, f6 is much more concrete.
And I want to put the knight on e6 and play f5. Sorry, I said again f5. I know.
Don't tell me you want to go f5.
All of my ideas end with f5. What can I do? So
f5. Well, this is the heart of your position. The f5 move. That saves you. Saves white.
So this is not so clear. I mean, there's no bishop c5, by the way. So the knight on e6 controls the c5 square, and the pawn on b2 is relevant. We have to give it up anyway. And yeah, f5 here. It feels like it's a game. I wouldn't completely rule it out for white to save this. But Judith, you said this h5 move. I think it's
stronger. Let's go back to h5. Yeah. Let's see what would it be there with h5. Well, f5, I guess you would want to play, but it's not going to be maybe so efficient.
Okay, what about g4?
That's mine. That's my pattern. But g4 isn't the f4 hanging.
Okay, I missed that. Yeah. There's something going on.
Yeah, but I can go bishop e3, queen c5 exchange. I can also try to take and queen c5, and then queen takes h5.
Yeah, this is actually very strong, I think, because now Engine disagrees. Now I thought after queen e3, you just trade the queens and take on b2, bishop e3, you take on h5. But maybe it's still obstacle of bishops. The king's a bit weak for black.
Yeah, but the only question is whether black is winning or it's a draw.
Yeah,
I don't think
argue.
it's for white is playing for winning.
No, but I mean, something like this, it makes sense for Yakoboyev.
Maybe knight f4 is better.
Yeah. Okay, that's gold.
Yeah, and if we go f5, then I thought to go bishop c5. That was my plan.
Yeah. And I assume I have no time to take on c5 and play king h1, putting the king on the same diagonal as the black bishop.
Planning to go b4.
Oh.
I mean, okay, it's a tactical position, but it's white is shortage on several ways. I mean, we understand that white wants to win this game, but and fights very well. At the same time, where he's going to be fine. This is a problem that white cannot take and play d4. It's a big problem.
Okay, there's the other idea. I think we discussed it, e5 and e4. Yeah, e5.
e5.
Bishop b7, unless you want to sacrifice something.
It seems like Yasipenko feels comfortable in his position.
Yeah. Actually, e5 also looks very human to me, because after that I want to play d4, and guess what, Judith? Play f5 at some point.
Oh, f5 is coming.
It is coming. So let's say bishop e7.
Yeah, this is what I want to go. You go e4, d4.
Yeah.
And now I'm thinking that maybe, you know what I can do? I'm also thinking, can I go here?
Queen h5?
Yeah, you're escaping with your queen. I'm helping you, it seems. Okay, so d4.
Yeah. You can put the bishop on e4.
I was even thinking to take on f3 and queen c6.
Oh.
I know, I shouldn't give up my bishop. You go knight d2, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not so clear. And now I'm going to sacrifice all the queen side. Queen h3. Or
and
maybe
f5!
And f5! You got it. I mean, what can I do? Like, every single position goes to the 5, and the queen side is completely irrelevant.
You go here and f5. Okay, I don't give up my bishop, okay? And
but then it's not so clear, Judith, is it? Because, I mean, you don't take on f3, but what do? Like, you put the knight on d3? Again, like, I can give up the pawn on b2. My center looks very secure. Somehow. I know it's ugly, like this long diagonal is weak, but give me knight bd2. Give me a chance to play queen h3 and f5, and we're going to have a different game.
Okay, so e5. This is the move.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
e5, and then you say, and we have it on the board. Let's
board.
See.
Yeah,
well, there's not much option for black. Bishop e7.
Mm-hmm. Now d4. I think this d4 is mainly coming with the idea that I don't want to protect the pawn. I want to stop bishop c5. That's the big idea. I want to protect the king. And I feel
I have a question. But why don't you take on c4?
I mean,
You don't want bishop c5 ever. This is why you want to play.
Yeah, that was my idea. Like I don't really care about that pawn, but bishop c5 is the big idea, and the bishop on e3, I feel it somehow also gives me hopes for the king's attack ideas. Like it protects the king, and it facilitates this f5, f6, bishop h6, whatever ideas. So I mean, what do you do? So knight e3 or bishop e4, or is there something cleaner?
I have a crazy idea. G6 and going f5.
Wow.
Just to stop your f5. We are sitting here for hours and you convince me that I cannot allow you to play f5. I have to give even a piece for that. I like it. I like my
No, it's
f5.
fantastic. Can we check it, like, for the viewers? I mean, obviously, I see the idea. I think we discussed it in a similar version. So let's say we
Yeah.
accept it. King G2 and rook D8.
Yeah, king G2, king H1 doesn't matter. I come rook D8 and I'm in party mode.
That is fantastic. Yeah. So this rook D3, queen E3, whatever, the knight on F3 is gone. Like, there's no way that white has an extra piece. It's unbelievable, but everything is collapsing.
I found my weapon against you. Arthurs, I found it. This is what I have to do. F5.
It's
and
not
then
very
you're
obvious.
armless.
Well, wait. I will still continue this, Judith. Don't you
I
think
know.
I'm going to give up? So knight b2, or knight b2, yeah, knight b2, and let's say you play knight a3. I'm still have my g4 ideas, yeah. So I know it's ugly.
G4 is not f5 anymore.
It's not. I don't argue, yeah, but at least it's something. You know, I'm having a lot of pieces to the king side, and all the respect to Stockfish, yeah, it says it's so hopeless, but for black, it's also he's on defensive a bit here. Like,
yeah, but I don't understand. If I just take and I go rook f5 and I go rook f8 and I start chop, 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 eating you up.
Those
on
are very good
f4.
arguments.
And I want to emphasize the bishop on b7, that it works of 2 piece in power.
Yeah, that is really clean. But I mean, this entire sequence of g6 f5, maybe question to you would be how easy it is for Yespenko to find something like this, because I'm pretty sure there's other continuations. Is this findable for Yespenko? Like, obviously it's findable, but like he has so many other opportunities to consider. Do you think he's going to find it?
I don't know, because basically we also came to the conclusion, right? It was a process to understand the position, what kind of alternatives there are, and also for me to understand that f5 is something that I just have to stop, and maybe just by stopping white playing f5, that's enough for everything. That's the cure, and then black can enjoy himself, right? I don't know, maybe when you're concentrating, focusing, maybe it's much easier to find it. Because this we also realized pretty fast that d takes c5, actually, the knight is not takeable because of the development problem for white. At the same time, I don't know, I'm curious if he has this in mind. I have the feeling, looking at his body language, that he is ready to play g6 f5. Like, or he has something that he knows that I'm doing very well.
Oh,
d takes c4.
Okay, that's what I did not expect. I didn't really think this pawn matters. I visually don't like it. I mean, there's nothing to like about white's position already for a long time, but it feels it favors black.
You made magic out of it for quite some time.
Yeah.
BC4.
Okay, And knight e2? Is this what he wants?
Well, I think it's for a long time that it's not something things happen on the chessboard what he wants, but he has to do something.
All right. What to do?
Knight d2. Well, rook d8 seems to be not a bad thing to strengthen the square d3. Also a possibility to go knight e6 or knight jump, and then bishop c5 comes with the extra power. Let's say knight d3.
Yeah, but first I think it's white to move.
Well, after knight d2, I go knight d3.
Oh, right. Knight bd2.
Yeah, unless white wants to go knight c3, but the problem is this f3 knight also you want to get defend, I would think. Interesting that he didn't dare to play d4, yeah?
Yeah, like I do not understand it. I thought it was leading to this. Like it was leading to the I thought he found all the practical ideas. This entire sequence, queen f5, bishop e3, and made Yesipenko think, and e5. He also calculated all of these bishop c5 lines, and now it just felt like d4 was the natural move. But perhaps, Judith, he just saw your refutation, this g6 and f5, or maybe it just didn't feel right. But I felt that the pawn had to stand on d4 to stop black from playing bishop c5. Now you're bringing another logical idea on the table, which is rook d8, rook d3, which is also something I start not to like. And like opening the position favors the side who has two bishops. That's the logic here. But maybe this one tempi, Norderbeck saw something here, but yet he's not making the move. That's what I find to be a bit puzzling.
Yeah, we are so curious what Yesipenko had in mind and what would he be playing right after d4. And I'm pretty much worried for white, because if white cannot do anything against rook coming to d3, then game is over, I think. Because that's such a support on the third rank, attacking, putting pressure on the bishop and on f3 knight. And none of the pieces can really move away when the rook on d3. And you can see Yesipenko is just enjoying himself. I mean, having this position, he would not even have this in his dreams, that after move 18, he's having this in game 2.
All right. So, okay. Now I'm sitting from Jakob's perspective. What I'm doing. Knight bd2 has to be done, right?
Well,
I mean, I need knight on 3.
Let's say knight d2, and okay, I go rook a d8.
Okay, rook d8. How do I start a kingside attack? Do I start a kingside attack?
Oh, you still have a dream of attack?
Okay. I'm gonna take the pawn on c4. Like, it's a pawn. At least I'm suffering. You know, there's an old expression. If you're suffering, you're doing at least for material. And I'm doing it for 2 pawns. I know my position is not great, but I might play knight e6 next. If you give me time, of course, you're not going to do it. So how about I just take material, which is a bit different
Good
direction.
Choice.
I was thinking, yeah.
Good choice.
It feels like white is going to lose something, the material somehow, but how? Some bishop e4, bishop d3 or something?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking. Bishop e4, and then for some reason I just want to go rook d3 somehow.
Rook d3 anyway, yeah. Yeah, but how easy is all of this for Yesipenko? Because like white is normalizing the position, rook e1. Even 96 is a thing in some lines. Yeah, like suddenly.
But I want to go back. I want to go back to the very beginning. I have my dream to have my rook on d8. But what happens if I go the simple way? Because I have the huge temptation all the time to go bishop c5.
Okay, can I play 94? So
no, because of g6, I think.
Knight f6, I saw. So I'm hoping that there's room for knight f6, knight g5 stuff. And I'm also stopping bishop c5 with this knight e4.
Knight e4 you want to go. And you're not scared to death.
Pretty. Well, I'm scared, of course, but what can I do?
Well, maybe you know what I do. I go g6, you go knight f6. I take, take. And you're happy, and f5. And f5 is coming, and I cannot play f5 myself.
And this is giving me hope.
I was thinking to take bishop f3 and bishop in queen b7, but you may already play f5.
The game continues. Yeah, then I'm double the rooks and I'm going for the kings.
Yeah.
No, I mean, this is not so clear. Like, there's apparently something very wrong with this position, but...
you know what I do? It's going to be so painful for you. What about doing this?
Yeah, but now I can trade the queens and maybe play some knight d6, knight f d2, or knight d6, yeah, or knight f to d2. Okay, you're gonna grab the pawn on b2, and the game continues. Maybe I'm slightly worse, but wait, knight b2 is on the board. Yeah, I do not see what's the immediate. Knight d3 again is the only move, by the way, for black. As you can see, the blue arrow shows that black has to do this. So where's the problem with knight e4?
Maybe I go queen c6. What do you play?
Queen c6. So the point is, I can play knight g5 and knight g5. I have some issues with the light squares. Yeah, so this is very strong.
And knight d3 will be on the board. Yasipenko is playing well this game. He played perfectly so far, if you think about it. He found b5 after he played all these very natural but very healthy good moves. b5, bishop b7, c4, knight c5, knight d3, very with great energy.
Yeah.
Well, here, of course, black can just take also. I mean, looking at it from the practical perspective, but maybe it's the best also.
So there's indeed several possibilities for Yasipenko, who's been playing fantastic game so far, and Yakuboyev. He is finding some practical chances to keep the game going. The evaluation bar, though, doesn't say it's going anywhere, but I think from the human perspective, the game is still open. Of course, Yasipenko with the much better chances. But dear viewers, we're going to go for another short break. I hope you're enjoying the coverage, and we'll be seeing you in several minutes, so stay tuned.
Has this ever happened to you?
Oh, shoot. Another mouse slip.
What about this?
Oh, well, holy bishops en passant. I think I'm getting carpal tunnel.
If only there was a way to play online chess with a real-life board.
What if I told you you can with Chess Up 2? That's right. With Chess Up 2, you can now play over the board online.
Wow.
Simply connect your chess.com account to our state-of-the-art Chess Up 2 and get a game started. Every time you move, our revolutionary board will transmit the data online directly to your opponent. And as soon as they move, squares will light up, signifying which piece is going where.
Well, shucks. This Hikaru guy seems pretty good.
With Chess Up 2, mouse slips and sore wrists are a thing of the past.
My carpal tunnel is gone. Well, this sure is fun. I'm playing online against my new friend Hikaru. Who needs a family? But I sure do miss clicking on a piece and seeing all of my available moves, like they have on chess.com.
Well, Danny, you're in luck. This feature is totally available on the Chess Up 2 as well.
Wow. Well, I'm convinced. But hey, what if I don't just want to play an opponent online? What if I want to use one of chess.com's other great tools?
I thought you'd never ask. With Chess Up 2, you can fully take advantage of the chess.com integration by playing bots, analyzing your offline games, and even using our optional AI assistants to visualize the quality of moves with color-coded hints.
Well, holy Chess Up, you did it. You made IRL chess cool again.
You got it, Danny.
And how do you know my name?
Play chess today on the board of tomorrow.
I was born into a very special and unique family because my parents are teachers and they had a belief that we are not going to be going to school, we are going to be homeschooled, and later on they thought we are going to be specialized also, together with my sisters. I have two older sisters. Susan is 7 years older, Sophia is 1.5 years older than me. So they were playing chess, and by the time I got age 5, it was very natural for me to go in their footsteps and start to play chess as well. In my family, due to this very unique upbringing, being homeschooled and being together a lot, usually I had training sessions together with Sophia because we were close in age and I was catching up fast. Susan was very much advanced for quite a long time in her chess career. We also had some difficulties, challenges, because people were not very supportive necessarily on this way, the way my parents decided to raise us. Basically, we were good sisters. Of course, we had fights and arguments and everything, but we were extremely supportive when it came to chess. So you have to imagine it like a startup company, all for one, one for all attitudes. So whenever any of my sister made a result, I remember when Sophia made Rome, for example, an amazing performance, we were cheering and we were so happy with Susan. Or when Susan made a great result, became the first grandmaster, it was amazing. So we were very, very much supporting each other, and we never had rivalry. Every day we were playing blitz, at least 10 or 20 or 30 games. That was an endless practice and fun and training as well. And at home, obviously, we were keeping score. Many times we had a small tournament ourselves, 3 of us, and let's say a 4th player coming over, and we played this mini tournament for 4 players, double round or 4 rounds to play against each other. So there we were very much fighting against each other. At the same time, when we went out of the apartment, then it was all for one. And also it was my mother's request that it's okay that you are fighting on the board with everybody, but don't hurt each other. So actually we were very peaceful with each other. No matter who was better or worse at a different stage of life, we were making draws.
And we are continuing with the coverage from Goa in India, following the battle for the 3rd place in the World Cup, but it's more than at stake. here in this game, because not only the third place is being fought for, but also the last remaining spot for the FIDE Candidates Tournament. Norderbek Yakoboyev needs to win this game on demand to force the tie breaks, but again, as you can see, the viewers, he's not doing really so well, because he has made a mistake in the opening phase, and ever since he has been struggling a bit and trying to figure out how to find some complications. Finally, he has completed development, and Judith also. H4 we just saw played by the Uzbekistani Grandmaster. So maybe the question to you, I would have it, is H4 something aggressive, or it's like a necessary move to secure some extra squares for the king?
I have the feeling that h4 was a necessary move to keep the game going in a way to give the most chance for white to score a full point. Because objectively, it's very hard to say for me what was the best move, because white has a very, very, very dangerous and diverse position. And you see it by the bar showing it that it's very bad. You have by intuition understanding that white is in a very dangerous situation because of the weaknesses around his king, especially these squares around, right? So white's pieces are very much tied down. So h4, it was I would call it a double exclamation mark, because it surprised the opponent. It gave a completely different dimension, ideas to the game. So it also gained some time, and it keeps the game the way that, okay, what's going on? So now Yasipenko has to switch a little bit his brain also. At the same time, of course, he understands that he's not going to be chickening out from an h4 move. I believe it's not an attacking move, really. It's more, as in the break we were discussing, that it's more of making space for the white king, which we touched base on the weaknesses, what is around the white king, and it's an escape route for white. To have the king on h2, suddenly it would be bishop c5, would not be such a crazy, unpleasant move already for white. So white is looking for safety for his king. This is why h4 is played. But the more I'm looking at it, there are quite some ideas for black. It's also possible now already, if we talk about pawn to go to g6. It can be very unpleasant for white, because after white goes back, I mean, queen g4, white would lose the queen because of bishop c8 already. So white has to go back to h3, but when you have your queen on h3, it would be much better to have the pawn on h2. So that queen has some powerful aspect on the h5, right? So after queen h3, behind the pawn on h4, I wouldn't be surprised if black can also sometimes to play bishop c8 and push away the queen. Of course, f5 is still always in the air as your favorite threat. At the same time, having the pawn on h4, it's not going to be such a threat anymore. h5 can be sometimes a useful move later on, but black has to be very much in time. For example, bishop c5 seems to be extremely powerful move, liquidating the position. If white takes, and then, okay, king can sneak away here, but maybe knight f2 can show up, and then knight g4 and knight e3. So there are quite a few aspects what white has to consider. So h4 for me was a practical prolonging the game and trying to confuse your opponent. What is your take on h4?
Yeah, I agree about this completely. So h4 indeed makes the escape route for the king. What I'm not exactly sure from black's perspective is g6 necessary, because like we discussed this about the g6 all the time, and I'm completely with you there, Judith, about the queen on h3 feeling a bit vulnerable. But Yasipenko already had a chance to play g6 before, and he did not do it. And I'm thinking if there's a room also for, by the way, he just played rook a8, but I wanted to say, can he play h6? And somehow, like visually, it feels that this h6 move is a bit more cautious, because it stops any knight g5 business, and then black can always organize this counterplay with bishop c5 or knight takes on b2. This is probably something I would play, but I do see the queen on f5, and the queen on f5 worries me a bit. So, yeah, I can understand the strength of this g6, but somehow, yeah, to me, this h6 would feel a bit more cautious. But apparently, Yesepenko has a bit different ideas, which maybe doesn't really exclude either of the continuations, because rook d8 is just a good move. You develop a piece. The pawn on b2 is seemingly going nowhere. Are you just playing for dynamics?
Rook d8, I like the move, and I fully understand your idea that why to push away the queen on f5 and it stands so badly front of the f pawn, right? So I can understand what you're saying. I also have a feeling that maybe black wants to keep in mind to play possibly at some point to go bishop c8, bishop b7 can be a repetition of moves also at some point. And rook b1, wow, defending the pawn.
Yeah, he's just stubborn, not going to give up the pawn. I mean, what else to do? Because the knight takes on b2 idea was always there. So you hold on to the pawn.
I want to play bishop c5 so much.
I don't think anybody can stop us. So, and then land the queen on e3 somewhere.
Why not?
So nice. Oh, that looks really nice.
Why not?
Yeah. I mean, there might be already some winning ideas like queen e2, bishop c8, bishop h3. Maybe even without bishop c8, just queen e2 looks very strong. Knight g5 is just not working. Yeah. So, actually, what do you do?
When? Which point? After queen e3?
No, it just doesn't work. Like it left the knight or the checkmate hanging. It's just not working. Yeah. So I was hoping for some knight g5. It's just not working. Yeah. So the question, Judith, I have is, I mean, what do you even do after bishop c5 here?
Well, you cannot do anything. You have to exchange. It's well, we are getting close to the game to finish, I'm afraid. Knight c4, then takes, and queen b6, I believe. The simplest way. Gaining material.
And everything is hanging like, yeah, rook b to e1 would hope to prolong the game, but you just take on e1, and on top of that, the knight on f3 is also hanging.
I mean, look at this. Look at this knight on d3. I mean, what a wonderful piece for black.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, Yesepenko played really well since, I mean, he played really well this game. Of course, he was giving the chances, and white played the way that it was double or nothing. It was clear, I think. We can say that in the decision where he made this very surprising decision, playing bishop takes d5 in the opening, if we just go back. I want to go back for our viewers.
It's so remarkable. It's just so remarkable, Julie, because I remember how he lost to Veilly. Like this endgame, the tie breaks, he has 2 extra pawns, and he's pushing for the win in the semifinals. Like if he makes it to the final, he makes it to the candidates, and he blunders the rook. Like he saw the rook is under attack, and then he forgot about that the rook is under attack, and to be able to recover from that, like I just find it absolutely incredible. And I think we already saw a couple of very similar scenarios like this. For example, there was the very crazy match of Donchenko playing against Lim Le, where Donchenko was completely winning an endgame. He was about to make it to the next stage. He misplayed it, and the game was drawn, and you could see the heartbreak in his eyes, literally on screen. And then it would come back next day, and he would win the tiebreaks. Yeah, so like for me, this feels very, very similar. I'm just amazed by this incredible resilience of Yesepenko. He's such a young player, and somehow he's managed to overcome this thing like it never happened. Like, it's very easy to say, maybe it looks very simple for the viewers, but I mean, we have been in this situation. Like, I mean, I haven't been at this high stakes games myself, but I know what it means to lose a heartbreaking game, and there's nothing harder than to show up the next game and keep winning.
You're absolutely right. And I was also thinking and wondering about that specific game, which happened 3 days ago. Yeah, it was the classical portion. And it's game 2, where it's already time trouble. Was it? No, was it a playoff? I'm getting confused already.
No, it was the tiebreaks. I think
it was the tiebreak already. Yes. It was 2 days ago, and it was the tiebreak, and you could see that Wei was in good form. It was clearly, but he went on down in his position, and Yasipenko suddenly has 2 pawns up, which was not an easy win, by the way. Endgame Rook Knight 3 pawns versus Rook Knight and 1 pawn, and it was not easy at all. And Wei was like incredible, this cold man. I don't know what nerves he has. He went down 2 times in a row to 1 second to play. And then Esipenko is like, probably he felt this, that everything was happening so fast there. And then while having the thinking process, should I move away the rook here? Should I move away the rook there? Whatever. And then suddenly he makes the pawn move, and Wei just captures his rook, right? But it's interesting also that when you make such a blunder, first of all, it was, of course, crazily painful because he was out and he did not secure. It was the insecurity it progressed for a further round, which actually he's getting very near with Queen E3, where we were talking about. Still, it was such a blockout for him that I think it was, in some ways, it was easier to get over it, that it was just such a blunder, and you don't do this in your life. I think you're doing it once or twice, and not in such a precious moment, in such a stressful moment. But kudos to Esipenko, definitely, how he had the strength and the resilience of coming back. And yesterday he played a good game. He could play it even better, because at some point he could take the initiative even with bigger advantage. He rather went on the slow path and strengthening his position. But in this match, I can say without exaggeration that Esipenko played clearly much better in every part of the games.
Yeah. Such a fantastic performance by Andre here. And after Queen E3, this Queen E2 seems to just completely tie White's defenses here. The knight on D2 and knight on F3, they're just not doing anything. And I don't see how to continue the game here, because knight G5 you cannot do. Maybe, yeah, knight G5, you can just play whatever you want to do. You can just take the knight on D2 with a check if you want. Yeah, so what's the move? Like, what's the next move here for White to play? So I wouldn't be really surprised that this game is about to wrap up. Maybe some Queen H3. I don't know, some Queen H3, and it already feels there could be some tactical solution like knight F2. I was looking actually at, yeah, knight F2 is just cleaner. I was looking at knight F4 even, to sacrifice on F4 and then take on D2. Everything probably works here, so black is just completely dominating here. Yeah, nicely played there. And knight X on D2, now the queen on G2 is under attack. That's it.
Yeah, I have the feeling that it's going to be finished within 4 or 5 moves max, because it's impossible to defend. And even I thought for a second that maybe White wants to escape with the king to H3, H4 to play H5, but the problem is also even bishop C8 will be there. So I wouldn't even be surprised if White would resign in this position.
Yeah, maybe. But Judith, I have a feeling that this final mistake that Norderbeck did was d6 on c4. Like
I agree with you.
somehow, yeah, this d4 was giving some hope. So you secure the bishop on e3, you secure the king, and maybe instead of this d6 on c4, once again we can put it on the board. Possibly could have been a different game. So you play d4. You want to remove the queen from f5 and play this g6 move. The question is, if both players saw this, if they saw
maybe there is something better. Maybe there is something better. Maybe it was so powerful, my move g6 f5, because it stopped you from your f5 all the time. Maybe there is something better and easier which we missed. I don't know. But,
maybe a simple knight e3. Yeah. What about just playing knight e3 without the need to sacrifice the knight?
Knight e4 or knight
no,
d3?
No, knight d3. Knight d3. Yeah, I think
D3.
the knight stands fantastic there. That's what I wanted. I wanted to play knight bd2, not to rush. You can take all the kingdom at the queen side. I don't care. But then knight x on b2, and now I'm gonna play whatever. Queen
g4.
Something.
Look at that. g4 played.
Okay. Let's go back to the actual position. There you go. That's a desperation move, of course. Queen f4 is the move. Knight f4 is the move.
Well, there is a lot of choices for black. Rook d4 is the move too.
G6 could be a move as well. Rook d4. Oh, rook d4 is a fancy move. I love it. Can you show it maybe, Judith? Knight x on d4, the mate.
Yeah, I just grab this and then queen g2.
That will be a fitting way to finish this game. Maybe a small question to you, Judith. So what do we do? You're playing here with black. You're Yespenko. And Yakoboyev makes a move and offers you a draw. What do you do?
Ooh, then now playing g4 and offering a draw?
Yeah. Okay, or maybe like a move before, or like you clearly know you're winning.
Well, which point? Tell me which point is that.
Okay, here. I'm playing g4. I'm offering a draw. With a draw, you immediately make it to the candidates tournament. What do you do? Out of principle, play it on?
Well, at this point, to make a draw.
Hello? Obviously, in history, this has happened before, right? Even at the World Championship matches. Okay, that's like a pretty ancient history. I think it goes like, what was the? I think it was Alekhine against Ava. It was a pretty ancient history where I think in the final game there was a draw agreed in a completely lost position for Alekhine just because it secures the championship. But yeah, that would be a weird moment to do it. But I wouldn't be super surprised.
It's painful to agree to a draw.
Yeah, here probably it's already too much.
Yeah, I would like to play rook d4. I mean, you don't have a move. At the same time, if your opponent offers a draw, you understand you don't want to torture him. But
Judith, I once did this. I offered my opponent a draw with a black color. I didn't know at the time. I gotta confess, I didn't know it was just not good decision. And he asked me, "Do you feel well?" I said, "I feel well, but I'm a bit tired though." Yeah. He said, "No, but then I'm gonna continue." So that was the last time I offered a draw against a very strong opponent with a black color.
Okay.
Okay, this is obviously a bit different.
But by the way, we are not even at the stage where it's allowed by the rules to offer a draw.
Oh no, it's more 24. Okay, then that's it.
So you get your first warning.
Yeah.
And not
Okay.
because you offer a draw in such a position, but it's just illegal.
That's a very fair point. Well, I don't think this game is gonna finish. It's gonna continue until move 30. This is pretty clear. Like these are the final moves. It seems so. And here, Yasepenko is just looking for the clean way. What's the clean way? Knight f4, rook d4, even queen f4. Okay, queen f4. The game continues well, but knight f4. By the way, what is wrong with this move? I cannot
Well,
possibly
you're right.
remember.
Well, I can't say it's a bad move.
Yeah. No, I'm just taking the pawn. Rook d2 is a move. It's a very easy move. Queen e2 check is a threat. Or maybe I would feel like a bit artistic. I would look for some beautiful checkmate or something. Push the king on f4 and find the checkmate of the pawn or something.
Well, knight f4 is also tempting, I agree. And this is what Asipenko is thinking also, like, which one is the move that my opponent will resign on and not fighting longer further.
I'm very curious what's on his mind right now. Like, I mean, what are you telling to yourself? Like, he knows he's winning. He knows, like, he is like 1 minute from entering the candidates tournament. He knows this. And what do you do to yourself? I mean, what kind of words do you to say to yourself? Calm down. Everything is normal. I mean, just treat it like a sparring game. This is not the World Cup match for the 3rd place. Remember the training, etc. Like, I could imagine it takes him really hard to calm down at this moment, just to keep the emotions at bay.
Well, he knows it that he's making it, right? He knows it that he's not going to misplay this position. He's enjoying the moment, and he knows that, okay, I'm a pro. I have to keep everything under control. It's not over yet. It's over, but it's not over. So I have to make it clear to win the game, to sign the score sheet, and only after that it's over. Enjoying the moment, that, okay, there is no question about it. And probably he's calculating, like, I came up in my mind a crazy move, like even knight c1 maybe evening move. Funny way of playing the game. Because first I was thinking whether knight e5.
That's a very way to disconnect the rooks. Yeah. Wow.
And then probably just queen e2. And it's unpleasant news for white. So you can think about it like, what do? You go knight c1, you go rook d4, you go knight f4. What do you want for the history to stay as your last move of the tournament, of game number 30?
Judith, you suggested knight c1. Can I suggest knight e1?
I was thinking about that, but after knight e1, rook b e1, king g3.
Okay. Doesn't work. Too bad.
I had this idea because that's even more appealing. I understand.
Yeah.
No, I had my idea to go knight e5, but knight e5 is not good because, well, queen e5 is also possible, but I think fe. I thought fe takes and knight takes back, but maybe queen e5 is the simplest, and then white may save the game with queen e5, rook d2, king g3, because we have no time for queen e2.
Literally any knight move except of knight e1.
And knight e5. And knight e5.
Knight e5. So knight f4, knight c1, knight f2 probably, but why wouldn't you grab the pawn? Like, I think knight f4 is the most human of them all. Like, you restore material balance. Knight c1 maybe feels cleaner because you disconnect the rook on b1 from the game. So Yasepenko is just triple, quadruple, quintuple. What's the next word for that? I don't know. Checking all the lines and making sure he's getting it done. But he is getting it done.
He's getting it done. There is no way. I mean, I'm thinking about this funny line, for example, knight f2, rook e1, Can Black take this and win the game this way?
Oh, Rook G2.
Yeah, Rook G2 King H3.
It doesn't work. I wanted to go for the fancy. It would be Royal Fork or something. So if instead of this, I would play Rook G2 check.
This seems to be
Still
not
some-
bad either. So there are quite a lot of alternative. Ooh, Knight C1. Look at that. He made it.
Oh, that is nice. Yeah.
Couldn't
So he gets
resist.
up. That's a great move. You called it, Judith. You called it. So Yesipenko gets up, flexes immediately. Look at that. What kind of move I made? Did everybody see it? Fantastic move. Double exclamation mark move. Great.
Yeah.
And
It's
he's
not
just
very
waiting for
often
Yesipenko to come back. He's just waiting.
that you make
no
your
move.
final move Knight C1 and your opponent resigns and then you qualify. I mean, it's in style, right? And you see it's knocking out Nodirbek. For him, he has to see this move on the board.
I mean, I feel sorry for him because that's what it is. Like, he had a fantastic tournament and he was this close. I mean, to be in the final four, to be the fourth guy who loses both matches and doesn't make it to the candidates tournament, it's definitely very hard. But I don't think he has any reason to be unhappy. Like, he played against some world-class players and they were just slightly better. So he thought he did everything he could have. And ultimately, I mean, you put four great players in the room and one of them simply has to lose. So that's unfortunately how it goes. So for Nodirbek, it's been a really great run so far. But for him, the run ends right here.
Well, you know how it is. We chess players, we know the road, the journey of a tournament. And of course, this tournament, the World Cup, with this system, more than 200 players started out in the same playing hall. You were there, you were competing there. I was just in other World Cups playing, and it's a very long journey when the players are passing through from one challenge to another, and each match you go and you say, okay, I want to win. What are my chances? Is my preparation? How it's going? And then you play and it's draw and it's equal, and then you make your playoff, and then you go all the way and it's nerve-wracking, and then you win and you have your friends rooting for you. But only one can win and one can pass to the candidates tournament from this match. And Yesipenko showed great resilience in the last few days. I think he was the champion of resilience. Now we can see the calmness he was able to stand up after this special rook blunder against Ve. He understood that he missed his opportunity to be in the final and play the final match for the cup, for the victory, not only for qualification, but he stood up and he played a very good classical game yesterday. And today he took his chances. He was there. And it was a must-win situation, winning on demand. It's so difficult. And I think Yesipenko is one of the players whom against extremely difficult, because he's such a calm and stable player in his style and his personality, as far as I was following him. And, well, Nodirbek is young. So I think we can say that it's not the last time that we see him giving surprises for the chess enthusiasts. And after all, he is a gold medalist. He has already great results and path behind him. And of course, being in the semifinals in the World Cup, it is something really amazing. We've seen how the big giant guys, the top Erigaisi, Pragdananda, Aranyan, Giri, and many others were not making it into the semifinals. So you need a lot of qualities and great skill set for being here and playing. At the same time, it's heartbreaking to see him because he feels the whole world is broken, and he's going to be very upset. This was his chance to qualify for the candidates, but I hope he will have more chances to come in
Absolutely.
later.
Yeah, he is going to come back as a hero, I'm pretty sure, because Uzbekistan typically really nicely reward their heroes. And speaking about Uzbekistan's results lately, they're nothing short but fantastic. So having two players of the country in the semifinals, having one candidate tournament, it's very, very impressive. So chess in Uzbekistan is on the rise. So I think here Norderbeck is just waiting for Andrei to come back at the board. We can see in the background Yesepenko is just walking. I think he's just trying to calm down because you feel it's a very big emotional moment, and Yakubayev is no longer thinking about the game. It's all about the acceptance. And as soon as Yesepenko is going to appear at the board, I think there's going to be immediately a handshake, and I think also Yesepenko is just probing for the right moment, because you usually can tell when the opponent is ready to resign. You can feel there's this disconnection of the concentration. You can very, very quickly tell, and I'm pretty sure that this game is no more moves will be made.
Yes, it's interesting what you're saying, and yes, indeed, I also have this feeling that that Norderbeck knows, like, not exactly calculating anything already in lines, but calculating more of about his emotions, how he's handling it, and how was his journey. Maybe for the whole tournament, it goes through his mind that, I was so close, and it was so my energy, my strength left me for the last match, and well, difficult moments, right? We've all been there, unfortunately, in the place of Norderbeck. And
Andrei is circling like a shark. Yeah, you can see he is going left and right and left and left, and he's expecting Norderbeck to resign here. Both of them, they know the game is done. No, he is reaching for the move though. It would be very fitting to allow.
What can he play on?
Nothing. There's nothing he can really play, I don't think. Maybe until the checkmate. We don't know to need to do.
No, maybe he can play until Queen E2, like King G3 or Rook C1, Rook D2, King G3, Queen E2, until that moment.
Yeah. What if? But yeah, not much to be done here. And Yesepenko is like, come on, like I know the game is over. I'm here.
At the same time, Yesepenko is walking around and he feels it's here, it's me, I have the point, but still, and I'm pretty sure still, his heart is beating faster. He cannot sit down just like that. And we have a move, Rook BC1. I do think we are going to see Rook D2.
And Queen E2, yeah. King G3,
and
Queen E2. This is going to be the final. And also the engine announces us this is a forced mate on the board. Both of them, they see Rook takes on D2 is played. King G3, the final hope. What if something happens? Nothing's going to happen. King G3, Queen E2. And this should be the final move of this absolutely crazy game by Andrei Yesepenko. So he's making to the candidates.
Wow. What a journey for him. What a nearly 3 weeks of fighting spirit, determination, resilience.
I love how he double checks it. He just made sure he's not missing anything. And you can see there's the resignation, and Yakubayev resigns his game, and we can congratulate officially Andrei Yesepenko of winning the 3rd place in the FIDE World Cup 2025, and also secures the last spot, the last ticket to the coveted 2026 FIDE candidate tournament. So what a result for Yesepenko.
Absolutely. Congratulations to him. He deservingly qualified. He deservingly won his last match. This last two games, he showed his strengths, his power, and you can see on his face that, oh, this was tough. This was a tough journey. Wow. And I hope he will have a little time to enjoy the moment, enjoy the success he reached, right? To qualify for the candidates. More than 200 people came there to this event. They wanted to be one of the top 3 to qualify for the candidates tournament.
Look at Judith. He's still sitting there. Like, he's still sitting at the table. Same thing he did after the match against Wei, but only this time different emotions, because he was staying there after he made this horrific blunder against Wei. So he sat there for a moment. Now it's exactly the same pose, but the emotions, Judith, are completely different one. He just cannot believe what he did.
Yeah. I mean, basically, he made his last moves of the tournament. It's over. So now you go back and you start analyzing your mistakes, your great moments, great moves, and here we see, unfortunately, difficult moments. You want to be alone, and everybody should leave me alone in these moments when I just didn't give a great fight today. And I think that's the only thing he can blame himself, that he was expecting himself to give a much better fight in the tournament in this specific game, but he had almost impossible mission to win with white against Yasipenko.
And these are the official results for today. As you can see, we had another game, the final match, of course, of Wei against Sindarov. It finished pretty quickly, like within 30 minutes. Nothing was to be seen there. The players are just trying to preserve some energy for tomorrow's tiebreak. So the coverage for the 2025 FIDE World Cup is not officially over, because the winner of the cup, the winner who is going to lift the trophy of Vichy Anand, will be decided tomorrow in a spectacular finale. I think for the fans, this is like literally the dream scenario, because everybody loves to see some drama, some tiebreaks, some blitz. For the players, maybe not so much. It's going to be a lot of stress, but still, it's going to be a lot of spectacle for the viewers.
Yeah, it was quite a spectacular day, even though the other game between Wei and Sindarov was not very exciting, but it pushed forward that tomorrow it's going to be a lot of excitement. Who is going to win the World Cup? At the same time, we have the other match finished today. And that was an interesting game with all the dramas, difficult moments for Yakuboyev, but I think it was a very fun game to commentate and to look back to. But I'm very much looking forward for tomorrow's exciting day.
Yeah, me too. And maybe a quick question to you, Judith, would be, who do you think is going to take it down?
Ooh.
Well,
I have my prediction, but maybe I don't want to say it now.
All right.
I think I keep it for myself. So I have my prediction, but well, we'll see. It's going to be a lot of fun, that's for sure.
All right, you got it. So let's check currently what do we have, the lineup for the FIDE candidates tournament. As you can see, their names are, we already knew these players before. Fabiano Corona, who managed to do it from the 2024 FIDE circuit. Anish Giri and Matthias Bluebaum, they made it from performing spectacularly in the recent FIDE Grand Swiss tournament. Bluebaum was the surprise finisher in the second place. And then, of course, we have Javohir Sindarov, one of the finalists of this year's FIDE World Cup. He still has one more game, one more day to play. Of course, the other finalist is Wei Yi. And then Andrei Yesepenko, by winning his match against Norbek Yakuboyev, he has secured the final spot in the candidates tournament. Hikaru Nakamura played in a couple of open tournaments in United States. He used the rating spot to get there, and Pragananda is the best scorer of 2025 FIDE circuit. So the final 8 players of the 2026 FIDE Canada tournament is complete.
What a lineup! What a lineup! I mean, we are very much have something to look forward. It's going to be in March, the candidates tournament, so that it's going to be something very special because we have quite a few players who have never been part of a candidates tournament yet. So a lot of excitement. New generation is coming.
Are you gonna guess who is the favorite of the candidates tournament, or you're not gonna reveal it?
I don't know. Of course, it's obvious favorites: Hikaru, Pragnananda, and Fabiano, I would say. But it depends very much what they are going to show until that point, how their preparation and everything will be working up to that event. So, I mean, for Fabiano, he was trying already so many times. He succeeded once, but I see in him that he's just wants to reach it again and go for the title again, have the opportunity. But of course, the others will have some saying too on that. I mean, we see Pragnananda, who is extremely young, almost we can say maybe almost half of the age of Fabiano. And of course, the old guy is Hikaru in the event, old timer.
I'm gonna go with the old guy. I think the old guy is gonna do it. The old guy. I love how he sounds. I think Hikaru is gonna do it. Like, I don't know. Somehow I feel like this is maybe his final chance to do it, and he's been quite motivated. So I wouldn't be surprised. It could be either him or Fabiano, but I'm thinking it's going to be Hikaru.
Okay.
All right. So obviously, all of this is happening next year, dear viewers. We have one more day of action following us tomorrow. As you can see, these are the starting times of the tiebreaks tomorrow. It starts at 3 p.m. Indian time in New Delhi. For Australians, it's a bit late. You can manage it. For Europeans, the perfect time. Wake up in the morning and follow it. For Northern Americans, so sorry. We actually have a producer from America. Yeah, I feel for him, Ryan. I'm so sorry. You have to wake up so early. But what needs to be done needs to be done. And this is the times when the action is coming back tomorrow. So maybe, Judith, final words from you. How it's been the run so far. You said that tomorrow we are going to see a lot of fun. Maybe something else to add from your part?
Well, I can only say that it was even great fun today for me. And regarding tomorrow, yes, I'm expecting a lot of fire, tension, and great games. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see a pretty long tiebreak playoff, not only 2 games, but it can go further. We can even go all the way until the Armageddon part.
And with this, that being said, thank you, Judith, for being my co-host today. I absolutely had a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. And we are wrapping up our coverage for the this day, and see you tomorrow. And in the meantime, have a great day and come back tomorrow for the final day of 2025 FIDE World Cup. Be good.
December, the world turns to Doha, Qatar for chess at its fastest and fiercest. The 2025 FIDE World Rapid and Blitz Championships bring the globe's elite to battle under lightning time controls. December 26th to December 30th, Rapid and Blitz formats designed to reward precision, courage, and creativity. In the heart of the Middle East, Doha offers more than a board, a world-class venue, a cultural backdrop, and a stage worthy of legends. With a €1 million prize fund on the line and the title of world champion at stake. The 2025 FIDE World Rapid and Blitz Championships, the ultimate test of fast chess.
Welcome to the FIDE Online Chess Museum. The International Chess Federation proudly presents the FIDE Chess Museum, an online space celebrating the rich history and evolution of chess. Explore exhibits that trace the game's fascinating journey. Discover the origins of chess, beginning in the distant past, and follow FIDE's centenary journey. Rare chess sets, unique books and memorabilia, autographs of chess legends, trophies of historical tournaments, and stories of the chess champions. Explore the game's legacy and future. Chess is more than a game. It's a global culture of strategy and unity. Join us to experience this unique online journey where history, culture, and passion for chess converge. And also on your phone.